o'clock in the morning. 8 o'clock in the morning. Look, absolutely shattered. I'm the only one who turned up, so I'm only joking. Everybody's here. So, Shabby, thanks all for coming. This is a Motu Extravaganza. And what we've done is a bunch of lads on YouTube that do all the Motu videos that have a big passion about the Motu franchise. They're all here to have a talk to you. So, without further ado, I'll welcome the first one, which is our Scuba.
Hey! I just been playing with my hair color a little bit lately.
Great.
What do you
Actually,
think?
Well, I'll tell you later. We've got Adam at Goldfinger. Hello, Adam. Good morning.
I'm excited. It's Prince Adam this morning.
So us three, and I think Rob, we're the early birds, aren't we? We're the ones that are getting up at this time in the morning. That's dedication, that I think, boys.
We were the first ones here.
Yeah. Some people that have had a nice day and they can do it at night. It's the Matt and Andrew that keep on collecting. Although there's only Matt now. So
Andrew disappeared.
Oh, here he is.
Our next one is good old Rob at Rob's Vet Show. Good morning, Rob.
Good morning, guys.
Then we've got Dave, MonkeyBoys Toys. Hello, Dave.
What's up, thanks for having me. What's up?
Coming to you live from the sofa.
Xazyl, Sergeant Slaughterhouse, right there.
What's up, dude?
Aussie!
We've got our Luke, Reynolds Reviews.
Luke!
How you doing, folks?
And last but not least, we've got our Phil.
Oh!
Hey guys, konbanwa. Good evening.
There he is.
Where'd you go with this? It's like the Grammys. It's like watching all your favourite stars at the Grammys. You know what I mean? So how is everybody?
Brilliant.
Yeah, good man.
Good.
Wide awake.
Can't wait for this.
Drinking early.
I don't know where everyone is in the world, but can I just say, hat off to the Aussie boys. Is it like 11 o'clock at night where you guys are?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not Xazyl.
Hats off to you guys.
It's only 8 o'clock for me. It's still past my bedtime. Fat Cat's already come on and told me to go to bed. That's a very specific Aussie joke.
It's 7 o'clock in the morning for Rob. 7 o'clock in Texas.
Oh, Rob, you look far too good for 7 o'clock in the morning.
I'm your head in, doesn't it?
I'm glad I'm not next to him. I'm glad I'm not next to him on the screen, but underneath him. I'll take that.
You've had an all-nighter too, right, Rob? You were saying you've been up all night or something? You've been up all night.
Yep, all night.
Still looking.
I think Luke and I have got the best time slot. Luke and I are doing all right because it's 1 o'clock.
All right.
Yeah, just after lunch.
So before we get into it, boys, let's just catch up with the people that have come in here. We've got the lovely Jason.
Hey, Jason.
Oh, good day, Jace.
Hey, Jason.
Got old Classifieds here.
Oh, chat champion classified.
Mrs. Scuba Peter.
Oh,
She's awake.
Good morning, Leslie.
Don't mention the toy prices.
Kieran. Hey, Kieran.
Hey, Kieran.
What's up, Kieran?
Karen.
We've got Sergeant Slaughters.
Hey, I know that guy.
Yeah. Nice for him to pop in. TJC.
TJC.
I'm playing that Ghost whatever Recon game with
Ghost Recon.
TJC.
I'm so bad at it. Classified. JC. Oh, good old Delvian's here, pal. Hi, Delvian. Someone we all know, right there.
Oh, G-Force.
G-Force.
Oh, G.
Retro Tinker.
Retro Tinker.
What a beauty.
Nate, stealthy boy.
Stealthy boy.
He's a stealthy boy.
I wonder if it was Retro Tinker able to sleep.
I was sigh. All right, I was sigh.
I'm in.
Sigh recovering from the birthday.
It's all right, yeah. Can't believe we were 36 yesterday. Unbelievable. Our time just
I wonder how long he was at Brannigan's partying.
Well, with his gold card, he's probably still
Gold
there.
card. Hello, ladies.
We got treasures for Trigger.
Hi guys.
Rolando.
The bells, Rolando. There he is. Good old Desi T. Always working his daughters. The lovely Hi Zoe. Oh, someone else we all know, boys. Mr.
Connor.
Our Connor.
Good old Darren. Hey, Darren. Morning,
Hey,
Darren. Mr. Redmond. Oh, everyone's turning up. Everyone's turning up.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Wow.
So, let me try and get down. Yes,
Can I just say, Shabby, as of 1:07, I'm already getting heat in the chat.
Good. That's why I brought you on. It takes it away from my dyed hair. So if you have a go at you, they're not going to say anything about my hair, are they?
I'm waiting for it to come up on screen. I'm already getting heat.
Morning, Baz.
I'll tell you who's the first one. The first one's Jonathan Redmond. Now, have a guess what he's giving me heat about.
Oh, fuck. Here we go.
There we go.
For those who don't know, Luke looks like a very famous PE teacher in England. We say it looks like, we're still debating whether it is him or not. Do you know what I mean?
I honestly don't see it, but I just go along with it.
I haven't got my glasses on. What does that name say? Nodsy. Hiya, Nodsy. Hiya, pal. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, that's my brother Todd.
Oh,
hey, Todd.
Oh, there you go.
G'day, mate.
Stock just went up.
Yeah.
So, Masters of the Universe, boys, we're all big fans of this franchise. I mean, this franchise, it means something to all of us, doesn't it, really? I mean, it's, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I just don't think it gets the love in our YouTube space like it should do. Do you feel the same way? Because I know Star Wars is huge, G.I. Joe is huge, and so forth. What do you think?
I have to be up there, though.
Yeah,
the Mo Tuesday boys. They're
we represent. Yeah,
I think that it's one of the few franchises that has survived strictly because of the fan base, right? If you look at when 2000X came out and it was struggling for a time slot, didn't catch on. It was the collectors that made those toy sales relevant, and it was the collectors that then made the classics line happen. And I think those two pillars proved to Mattel or whatever that Motu was viable. So I think it's one franchise that the love of the fans has really been the fuel to keep it going to where it is now. And so yeah, I think that people love talking about Star Wars and G.I. Joe and all kinds of stuff, but I think that when it comes to Motu, it's like a pure love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you're not wrong, Adam. I'll say this about G.I. Joe, especially, is that they do get a lot of negative conversations happening about it, but I've never really seen anyone rant and rave about Motu quite the same way.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah, you definitely don't get the whole 3 3¾ inch versus the classified argument with Motu. No. Everyone loves the origin stuff. I haven't heard any Motu fan that talks crap about the newer Motu stuff. So we're one big happy family.
I think Motu breaks the toy mold in that when you get a new classified figure come out, they're like, oh, this is just a repaint of a last figure. Every Motu figure is unapologetically a repaint. And
right.
For the sculpts. Even if you just take parts that are laying around, so like I bought a Origins Clamp Champ so I could put his armor on my vintage Clamp Champ. So then I had a naked Clamp Champ. So then I gave him a movie sword and a gold harness and made Hebrew. And this is as valid as any Motu figure because it's just a repaint with different parts. And that's what the line succeeded on that for years. And so you don't there's no valid argument to say, oh, it's just a repaint. They're all just repaints, and it's glorious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Motu fans are all generally on the same page. I mean, when you look at Star Wars, it can be quite a divisive property, 100%. And you get disagreements and stuff. But with Motu, I think everyone generally is on the same page. We all just love the property,
Yeah, nobody was beefing that Scareglow came out in wave 2, like, oh, why? And it was like, Scareglow, come here.
And we're going to get to, obviously we're going to do it past, present, and future. So I'm not going to talk about Origins that much, but that's one of the things that I enjoyed about that line when it came out. The unlike Retro Collection and TVC that were completely different and made them look the same, Origins took a vintage figure and upgraded what was already an awesome figure. So, and I think that's what the developers and the creators of Origins, they really had a love for the vintage stuff. For them to do what they've done, and just, well, maybe we'll just give him elbows and we'll give him these and we'll vibrate his color a bit and that. So I've just absolutely honestly, it's one of the best lines for me to create, and that's why I'm so glad MonkeyBoys, because obviously there was so many other guys that were doing Motu at the time, and I thought, oh, this is awesome. Now we can have a good, and that's how I came across Mo Tuesdays and all that kind of thing. It was Matt at Keep On Collecting said, Shabby, watch these lads. They do this He-Man thing and they talk about masters, and I thought, oh, brilliant. And then obviously Xazyl, I met through there. Phil at Treasures for Triggers I had already known anyway, and I thought, this is awesome. So you doing great job for that.
I think it was. Oh, sorry.
I can puppeteer these guys.
So this is the vintage stuff though. Then we were kids. So what's your earliest memories about He-Man when you were kids?
Well, me personally, I mean, I actually didn't have a huge amount of Motu figures when I was a kid. I only had sort of a handful. But my affection for the line comes from we had a cousin who he was only child, and he was generally used to get pretty much every toy line he asked for. But he lived in a house with two main bedrooms and a box bedroom at the time. But because there was only him and his parents, this third box bedroom was just completely dedicated to it being a toy room for him, like a playroom. So I have really, really sort of vivid memories of just sat in this. We used to go see him and just sat in this playroom surrounded by Motu, and that seemed to be his toy line of choice. There was other stuff there, but I just remember being sat in this sort of box bedroom surrounded by every Motu figure you can think. I mean, in my head, I remember he had pretty much everything. Snake Mountain, Castle Grayskull, all the vehicles, most of the figures. And we just sat in this room. There was no bed in it. No, it was just surrounded by all these sort of play sets. And so I think even though I didn't have a huge amount of Motu when I was a kid personally, my affection from it comes from going to my cousin's house, playing with all of his stuff. And we were just sat in a room on the floor, cross-legged, surrounded by stuff. And it was good times. Good times. It really was.
So I was born in 1981. So by the time I became like what I call toy cognizant, when you're like realizing that like Motu was just in the zeitgeist, like it was just part of the culture, right? There's never a point where it's like, oh, here it is. It was just always was. Yeah. And so you always just kind of knew who He-Man was. It was just like kind of like a staple. And but I remember picking up, I think I must have been 4. Going to Thunder Bay to pick up my grandparents from an airplane so they could come visit us. And so then we went to a Zellers, which is like a kind of like a Walmart in Canada back in the day, and they had a big, when they do like dump bins of sale items in the front back in the 80s. It was just I remember because maybe it's kind of small, but this heap of Motu figures in this bin, and my grandparents being like, "Oh, you can pick one. We'd like to buy you one." And just like digging for a He-Man, and I found that the Battle Armor He-Man in there, and just like normally you couldn't wait to tear open into it. But I remember just like holding it in the package, like being this surreal moment where like this thing that I was aware of was mine. And so Battle Armor He-Man will always be my favorite toy of the Motu line. But yeah, that was my most clear memory, was digging through that bin looking for my first Motu figure.
To me, it was the castle. I think it's because I was a huge Star Wars collector as a kid. And the thing about Star Wars was you saw all the play sets and the vehicles, and all of a sudden this big green castle comes along, you're like, what is that thing, And it still looks pretty big now, but when we were kids, that thing, like an Ewok village, I suppose, it just looked huge, So I have just vivid memories of, and that castle was, honestly, it was battered by us. I have 3 brothers, and we just battered that thing,
That's a perfect toy, though.
Yeah.
It had so much going on.
Yeah. Inside and outside.
And not just the castle, but the figures themselves, compared to the Star Wars or G.I. Joe, just, these big bulging muscle men just, bouncing off the card backs. Just such an awesome sight to see in the.
Yeah.
For me,
Brilliant.
Sorry, go on, Rob.
Yeah, I was born in '80, so very similar. And so I remember I was more like by time 4 or 5 Battle Armor He-Man, Battle Armor Skeletor. The Horde was really big.
Yeah.
And just, I think it was being so young and that was like the intro into toys that I can remember, and just the bright colors, the gimmicks, you know, Mechanic, Cyclone, just everything that they would do was so cool. Grizzlord, man, just being furry. That was like, as a kid. Yeah. And then Castle
I didn't
Grayskull.
realize at the time that I would turn into Grizzlord, but here we are.
Yeah, it's just kind of that gateway into toys as a kid. It seems like for a lot of people, I think.
I'm a 72 baby, so it was Adventure People, Star Wars, but then here comes Masters of the Universe cartoons, you know, which we'd never missed. And then it was, you know, Christmas with Castle Grayskull. My brother was always both Skeletor and He-Man. Like those 2 figures were his. Yeah. And then I had like the Battle Ram and Man at Arms. Like those were solidly always mine. And I was all right with that. I was like, I love Duncan. And so I was, you know, always flying around in the Sky Sled, like whacking into Skeletor, like die.
First name basis with Man at Arms. Me and Duncan.
He just owned his own narrative. It's the best.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Duncan, he's my
But I don't know what, like I said, he was both He-Man and Skeletor. Like, those were his, you know. We had.
Do you think it's one of the biggest knockoff lines as well? Because I'm talking specifically at you, Pete, because every week you go out and you find a figure that's so knocked off from the He-Man. Now, besides Transformers, do you think it's the biggest knockoff line? I do. I mean, there was loads.
Oh, they're everywhere. Yeah. Every time I think I know, you know, another knockoff, you know, you think Suco is deep. Then you find something from Argentina or Mexico, and you're like, oh, gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, you see that muscly body, and I don't care what kind of head they pop on, dinosaur head, you know, Toxo, you know, Avenger. I'm in. I'm like, give it to me, because, you know,
some of those
quite a few of
figures
the vintage. So cool. But now it's finding all those goofball. I mean, I've got a Pete the Pirate, who's I got that at Joe Fest for, I don't know what they wanted, $50 for it, and it was on card, and I'm like, on card, Pete the Pirate knockoff, yes, I'm in. You know, that lady's like,
you got Skullman recently, didn't you, Pete?
I picked up Skullman. The guy was like, I have to be honest with you, and I'm like, oh, we have to be honest about a knockoff. Okay, what's up? And he's like, the red cape is a reproduction. And I'm like, this whole figure is a reproduction. I'm all right with it. Let's talk price.
I thought he was going to say, like, I need to be honest with you. I've used it to smuggle cocaine. Like,
something bad, but I'm like, the cape is reproduction. I'm like, this whole figure, his accessories, everything about him is
Adam, he was going to say that, but Rob's here, so he can't say that. You know what I mean? We don't want to, that's what it is.
Rob has left the chat.
My buddy's Customs, good morning, my friend. He says, my oldest sister had 0 toys and a few Motu, and once I was born in 86, they had bought me a bunch of Motu in Castle Grayskull. I think that's what it is. I think we're all obviously different eras, 70s and 80s, but we all grew up with this line. And I think, do you think it's I mean, they were made to last, really. Even now, if you look at a battered He-Man, it's still in good condition, isn't it? I mean, the plastic's better. And...
So, question for the group. Am I the only one, or did you guys have a similar experience where, like, you wanted to have a She-Ra in your collection, but you felt awkward about asking for a She-Ra?
Not me. I loved She-Ra. Not me. I loved him.
Need a damsel in distress, but I'm not asking for.
Yeah. When I was a kid, it was the last figure I was going to ask for. I'll be honest. There's no way I was asking for that one. No.
Yeah. I can just imagine it.
Call me sexist. It was the last thing. It was the last figure I was thinking about.
I've
But if
I've
She-Ra
bought-
had the
I've
same
bought one
body
for my
as
sister for Christmas.
Teela, that would have done way better, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
I wanted Bo. I wanted Bo, and I wanted him with the He-Man body, not the doll body.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But my He-Man did cut off a lot of Barbie heads in the day, especially when
That's completely normal, buddy. That's completely normal. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
the interesting thing about Bo is he is just an upscaled Secret Wars figure.
Yeah, right.
Like his body, his mold is
Yeah.
just an upscaled Secret Wars figure.
Doesn't matter. Still don't want it.
I never wanted She-Ra when I was growing up, but as some of you may know, She-Ra is my favourite Origins figure.
It's a great Origins figure.
It's great.
Yeah. Great Origins figure, though. I think that when the Filmation ones come, I was talking about this. I think it was it with you, Scuba? And I said I think there's going to be more She-Ra coming in that Filmation line. I think the only thing with that She-Ra, it's an awesome figure, and I've got that twice. I wanted that one carded. But if you made the Filmation one where it looked exactly like her and all the girls, I think that'll take off big time. And so I think that's why they've probably held off, knowing they're going to do this Filmation line and put them all in there. So I can't wait. But I love She-Ra.
Do you think they'll actually do
football? I'd always do the
Do you think they'll give them hair or keep them with the plastic hair?
That's a good point. That is a good point.
I think they'll keep the plastic hair. I think if they're going to be rooted
I
hair,
mean,
they
that's
would
so
have the Origins one.
iconic.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're right, because they got rid of most of the gimmicks, didn't they? I mean, even in Origins, look at Mechanex doesn't work. I think the only thing they'll probably do is a Cyclone. I don't know how they're going to do Real Blast when he comes, simply because of how many gimmicks he's got on him. So,
in Australia, though, if you say rooted hair, that means something completely different.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Oh no, it can't be good.
The opposite of what Pete was wearing. That was awesome hair.
Right.
Yeah. But do you remember that when we went to Comag Toys, Pete? You're buying Action Force. You're buying what is it? That, and I'm buying She-Ra's thingy.
The Crystal Falls, and I'm like, ooh, Stomper playset in the box from J.C. Penney, and Chevy's like, Crystal Falls. I'm like, if you don't buy that, I'm buying it for you. And he's like, I'm getting, because it was like what, $5?
I'm so jealous of you guys living in North America, eh? Just the amount of Motu you've got access to. It's pretty limited for me over here in Japan. It's a very, very minor line. So, yeah, when I see your guys' toy hunting videos, it kind of blows my mind how much you guys get access to.
I just found me a flat back two bad. Just found it. He said, "Look, Shabby, I've got this. It's the flat back one." And I thought, "Wow, man!"
There you go.
So yeah,
It's getting harder to find Origins, so in retail.
Yeah,
it's getting a lot harder.
Yeah. So I was at my Walmart yesterday, and there is zero Motu in Walmart in Canada right now.
Yeah.
There's
Isn't it weird? It's easier to get vintage than Origins.
Oh yeah.
There's a chain in the UK called Smith's. Dave, Monkey Boy will know this. And it's a huge toy shop. It's modern, obviously, but there's one about 30 minutes away from where I am. And I was there not long ago. Not a single Motu item on the shelf.
Wow.
Very little. Sorry, go on. You want Dave?
I was going to. Sorry to interrupt. They've stopped doing it. I asked them where the Motu was, and they said they're not carrying it anymore.
Yeah, didn't they blow it out for like a couple quid? Like last year?
They probably did, but there was not a single one on the shelf. Very little Star Wars, and it all seems to be dinosaurs and wrestlers. That's all really you could see. A bit of Transformers, but that was it. Yeah.
My buddy's customer. I hadn't had Motu in my life until Origins, and holding He-Man in my hands again. I'm not gonna lie, I can't agree more. I think we all can. It was so good to have him back. Memories of those summers in the soul of my grandparents' shaggy carpet.
Oh yeah, because you're down on the floor playing with them.
Oh
Heck yeah.
no.
But it is a line that obviously I've got a huge amount of affection for. But two things I was still on the fence very much about Motu Origins, and two things pulled me back into it. One was your video, Shabby, with Lucy. So every time I watched them, I was like, well, they look better and better and better. The packaging was great. But for me, the biggest pull was when they released the vintage head. Because the new He-Man head, I was like, whoa, You know, no, I didn't look at it and think He-Man. So, but once he said, "Look, we're revising. We're gonna release the vintage one or the head sculpt." Once I saw that, I thought, right, that's He-Man now to me. So I'll get into these. So, but my sort of journey with Origins was very much based on the ones I remember from a kid. They're a bit too out there for me now. Characters like Sunman and things like I don't have any connection to that. So it was a case of Trapjaw, He-Man, Skeletor, Beastman, all those. Yeah, I'm in, absolutely. But once they got into the ones, and then you get into Mattel Creations as well, I just didn't have the time or inclination to go chasing those. But there are other stuff that if they're released, I know we're going to talk about that later, if they're released, I will definitely look to buy. But I kind of feel I'm probably about where I want to be with my Origins collection now.
Do you think it's one of those lines, though? Because obviously all of us, all 9 of us, well, 10 of us, obviously there's 2 on Keep On Collecting. What is it? We're all vintage and modern collectors. But I think Masters Universe is one of those lines where we pick up both. You know?
I as a rule, don't. So the only Origin figures I have was this Clam Champ that I got for his armor. I'm a vintage-only guy. But I love the Origins line. I think it's the most tempted I've been to be like, I want to get a couple of these for. But I went full on my kids. When my kids were playing with toys, they got all kinds of Origin stuff, and so I love the line for what it could have been for a kids line.
I was only going to get a few characters myself, but as you can see, I've ignored that rule. And, I've got no control.
Yeah, I know. Just when I go
more of the vintage, and then I was collecting the Origins, but like down here in Australia, it's they're just crazy. I mean, the other day I went into we call it Big W, which is like your Walmart, and they only put a box, one box on the shelf, and I just racked it off, and these poor people come around and go, "Excuse me, do you see any Origins figures?" I go, "No."
I think they went that way.
Under your shirt.
It's just a knockoff gem.
So this one had to show this one off. This is my son's favorite.
Yeah,
so I asked him. I said,
"Let me make it big, Rob. Hold on one sec, yeah, buddy."
So Snout Spout's his favorite. I told him. I said, "All right, buddy, you got to tell us which one's your favorite, so I can let all the guys know." And he said he picked Snout Spout. So. Yeah,
I like the second hit on that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Can I just ask one question? Does it not piss you all off that he looks that handsome at 7 o'clock in the morning?
Absolutely.
I'm incredibly annoyed. I thought he looked handsome, smaller, but then when you made him large, like, absolutely.
When I was drawing the cartoon versions of us all, I was trying to make our faces kind of look like our characters. And I was like, this guy's just a generic handsome man. That's all I got to
say. And just copy and paste.
Yeah, he deserves the center position. That's
making me blush.
Rob center square.
We start off looking that good in the morning. By about 11 o'clock at right now, our faces.
Space Commander.
It's nice for everybody. Right, so there's one more thing I do want to specifically talk to a certain person about, and it is, let's see. I saw this and I just thought this is amazing. This is fascinating. So, Adam, tell us about this.
Oh, so this was one of my latest videos. So when I do custom stuff, and there's lots of great customizers out there, and they'll do like Mickey Mouse as a Motu guy or like Jason Voorhees, and I think that's great. And there's a lot of better customizers than me. When I do custom stuff, I want it to be able to seamlessly fit into my vintage line. I want it to look no better than the vintage line looked. Like I want to kind of be in that world. So one of my latest projects was, I thought, what would it be like if they would have embraced the movie, right? Like, because I feel like the movie was its own thing, and we got like 3 figures that were kind of a tag on. But if they would have went full and like new card backs, Motu movie, and did a comic book where like, here's where He-Man gets his new armor, here's where Oracle and Battlecat get thrown into prison. Like he explains all the differences. And they would have in '87 released a Motu movie line, including a Castle Grayskull. What would that have looked like? So this was my interpretation of a movie version of Castle Grayskull. And so we got the movie version of He-Man and Skeletor there, and some other guys.
Good.
Great. I saw them on Instagram actually. Yeah, great.
Outstanding.
Yeah,
Way better than laser.
I just think the thought of that. I mean, I'd always wet myself. I wouldn't know. It's weird because I make furniture too, so you think I'd be all right doing this, but when I see stuff like that, I just think that is absolutely.
Yeah, I'm always in awe of your videos.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate that. This one was a fun one because this one was really a toy I wish I had as a kid. Like I would have, like, and again, when you talk about the vintage, when we talk about the past, like the vintage Motu, it comes to this weird abrupt halt. It's like speeding along and then it like hits a tree in '87 and just derails. And I think if they would have given us this line, you would have had a He-Man, a Skeletor, and a Castle Grayskull back on shelves for kids that were just getting into it. Whereas we didn't have any of those. And I think this, like in my mind, I'm like, this would have saved the line. So, you know, if I had a time machine, I go back to '86 and be like, guys, do this next year. And then I come back to the future and see what happens.
It's funny as well because obviously that's us lot at Joe Fest, and there's the figure that you did for me. Right there.
Nice. Look at those handsome fellas.
That was awesome. I mean, I absolutely love that thing. I was blown away. I mean, like I said, when the lads got in touch and said, "Oh, Shabby, you just need to know what your favourite character is," I was expecting like a picture, or you just tell me that. And then when you got that, I just thought that is absolutely amazing.
That was one of my favorite moments from Joe Fest because I said to Xazyl, I was like, we need to find Shabby. I need to find his figure. And he goes, he's right there. And I turned around and Shabby's like, Shabby? He's
like there. Listen, I'm not a convention guy. And it was Scuba that said it because I was like, well, you know, I like G.I. Joe, but I'm no expert. I didn't grow up with G.I. Joe. I don't know. But I thought I'd like to go to experience and see what it's like because I've seen these flags and I've seen these defiants, and that was the first time I saw them live, and I was like, "What the France? How big are these?" They'd never fit. I'm a working class lad up north. They'd never fit in our houses, Luke. Do you know what I mean?
No, God, no.
Yeah, Chevy's like, "Look at the box for the Defiant."
That's what blew me away. The flag was one thing, but it was that. It was that Defiant box. I've never seen anything like it in my life. But anyway, I'm going off market. We're talking about He-Man. But I went crazy. Thank God G-Force was with me because as soon as I walk in, Analog Toy shout, "Shabby!" So I'm overwhelmed. So I'm starting to pull out money for anything. As soon as he gets Shabby, calm down.
So Shab, I'll talk to you at Joe Fix next year. I got some stuff I'll sell you.
We had a bit to drink, and they have that lobby part upstairs, right? And
yeah,
I love that. It was like Toy Mafia. Do you know what I mean? I love it. So I'm stumbling along, tipsy Shabby, and this fella goes, he just points to me like it was you. You can have this for $20. I went, okay. I didn't even know what it was.
I saw him in the car park saying the same thing later that night.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh god, let's have a look. G-Force, it's where the old day horses went. They're gonna go back. Here we go. Let me just get down a bit. Yes, Smith said a wall not long ago, but they said that, didn't they? They said that they're no longer doing Origins in stores. They're going to put it on Mattel Creations, but the Filmation will be in stores. Does the Filmation excite you? I mean, because we all love that cartoon. So, are we all going to start? Will that get you into buying them, Adam?
So, and actually, it's. I'm going to sound like such an arrogant person. It's actually gone the opposite way. The reason I love the Origins so much is it was such a callback to what the toys that I loved, and so it's this weird thing for me. It's this weird thing for me where it's like the needle for Motu for me in the vintage line is that's exactly what it is. So anything different than that goes off a little bit. So the cartoon line is great, but it's really going further away from what I love. Like it's cool that it exists, but we never had those toys. Like they're getting further away from where my memories and my nostalgia is. So it's great to see them, and the packaging looks cool, and like I'm happy for the guys that can add to their Origins collection. I have no desire for the cartoon figures. I think that I'm happy for you guys to have them. But no,
exactly same. Yeah, I would say I'm exactly where Adam is on that. Yeah, same. They look great, but I don't look at them and feel I want to buy them. They look amazing, but no, they're not.
It's got me thinking like, will I sell off my?
You lads are crazy. What's the matter with you? I'm waiting to get him.
We won't get him in Australia.
It'd be hard, but I think you just
Yeah, whatever anyway.
You know, to be them.
I can be chucked on my tea then, Shabby.
Oh my God, they're all right. They're all right. I've waited 40 years for these.
Like tea just came out my nose, Shabby, but it was totally worth it.
But Shabby, you just said you spend money on stuff you don't even know what it is. You guys like $20. Oh,
I'd buy a solar-powered flashlight. Do you know? Yeah, I'll have it.
I think they look good, but I wish they would just finish the vintage line first before they move on to this whole other sub line. I mean, and now that's going to be their focus, and I'm still sitting here like, where's Too Bad Cyclone? Where's Rio Blast? Where's give me a battle ram? Give me some vehicles.
Yeah, I'm sure they're doing that on purpose, though. I'm sure they're trying to sneak that in. So, you're sitting there waiting for the last vintage ones to come out, and they're starting to tempt you with these Filmation ones.
If you put them all out first,
while they're waiting for this, that, and the other to come.
Yeah, exactly. You see with the BBC, don't they? Same thing. All their lads keep asking for the 96. Where's the 96? Well, they're holding on because if you grab the 96 first, you ain't going to buy the rest of them, are you? So, I understand that.
They might go to
they've totally got me with this Filmation line. Totally got me. I've pre-ordered all the ones that I can. I'm all in on that.
They do look good.
I'd be decent at them. I'm such a massive fan of the cartoon. I don't have a lot of origins. I'm more of a vintage collector as well. But the Filmation ones really hit the spot for me too, because I was just such a huge fan of the the cartoon back in the day. So they look awesome.
I mean, this is why I like the Super 7 Filmation line. I'm really sort of sorry that they lost the license for that, because that there was only 24 figures I think they made, and I would have
it wasn't many.
I would have kept buying them till the cows come home. I really like that line.
It's the same with the classics as well, though, Dave, because when Motu Matty created, I think a lot of us, that was like a newish thing, was buying it offline and getting it straight. That there was no crowdfund from HasLab. That was the first one that actually did it. So I missed out on a lot of them simply because of that. I'm such a traditionalist going into stuff. I never once thought, well, actually they sell He-Man at this one certain site online and you can buy it from there. And I wish I would have got into the classics, because some of those look absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I wasn't really like back to toy collecting yet, so I had no idea that Matty Collector, like, that was a thing. And then getting a vintage Castle Grayskull at this just total hole in the wall toy shop. I mean, like, very small, and I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm getting it back. And Leslie's like, "Are you buying it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm buying it." And I'm getting He-Man and several other figures that he had, and that just totally got the juices flowing again. But then I remember those first few hunts, seeing those classic figures and going, "They go for how much?" Because they were subscription figures, and I'm like, "Holy Lord!" I'm like. But
they were like $35, $40, weren't they? Something around there.
Yeah.
At the time,
That kind of blew me away, and I'm like, this was a thing. It was like having the glasses ripped off, and you're like, I can see. It's still been going.
And in hindsight, that line, it started with like the vintage figures and the recreations and whatnot. It got so wild near the end with like their own creations, and just there was 350 figures. Like it was incredible, the amount of figures, and I was like, I'm happy I didn't go down that road. Like, I don't know what
right
now. I think the Filmation characters too are going to be so different than like the vintage, or the Origins figures. I think that will appeal to a lot of people. Like the Clawful in the cartoon looks nothing like the vintage Clawful. So you almost get it like an entire new character. If they go that deep, I think that'll be pretty cool.
Did that bother you guys as kids when you'd buy a toy and you come on?
That's what I was about to say. The Filmation designs look nowhere near as cool as the original figures or the artwork. And I know why they do it, because of animation. Having to reuse and be able to mirror the image so that you can use it, flip it or whatever. But that's part of the reason why I'm not going to really go down the rabbit hole of these Filmation figures. Is not only is the scale off, they're taller than the Origins ones, and the Origins ones themselves were a little bit taller than the original vintage ones. So we're already 3 different scales. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to get stuck down that rabbit hole either. But I wasn't even going to be collecting the Origins until that happened. And somehow I went from only wanting to have 2 or 3 to being like these fellas up here. And I was like, well, as many as I can get. And they're not easy to get. So I can really struggle.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good segue into Origins. So we'll talk about these. But I mean, this to me just came at a perfect time for me. It really did, because I'm a big Black Series collector, and Black Series was getting harder to find, the distribution. Then you got through, the pandemic happened, and I wanted something to share with my kids. My kids, and out of all 4 of them, Lucy took to. We watched Pixel Down. I love Toy Fair. It's my favorite convention to watch. I like seeing all the new stuff that came out, and then you saw Prince Adam, you saw He-Man, and I thought, I don't believe this. And I'd heard the rumors that they were coming. And then I saw him, and I was just all in from the beginning. And I think for me, and I think it's the same for you, Rob, we share these with our kids, and it's just, and I've always classed myself as a toy collector. And these to me are toys. I mean, they're just absolutely, so I was all in from the very beginning. What about yourselves?
Shabby, you nailed it when you said you're a toy collector. And I think there's definitely two kinds of people in our community. There's toy collectors and there's action figure collectors, and I think action figure collectors care about like articulation and sculpting, accessories and piece count and hands, and toy collectors are like, how fun is this toy? And I think that's the one thing Origins did the best, is that they clearly made toys when they first the original way, when they first put these out. Their idea was to make toys, and I think they did that very, very well.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Well, they played to both that being highly articulated compared to what we grew up with. So the fact that you could get them in these just awesome poses that you always wanted to do, as well as, hey kids, you can pop off the arms and slap them together. And our 7-year-old neighbor can mess with them and put Skeletor's head on, He-Man's body. And it's like, cool. Hey, Tez. It's like, just play with it, dude.
Yeah,
you don't even know what this line is, and I'm like, I'm giving you He-Man and Skeletor. Go crazy, and to him, they're just two muscle-bound.
The original advertisement had a father playing with these toys with his kids, and I think the original idea was to, pass the torch over to the kids and let them begin their Master of the Universe journey. But then adult collectors, being as we are, we're like, no, we want all of them. We will strip ourselves of all of these.
The whole set.
You can have none. You can have. Look at mine. You can look at mine. These are all coming with me. Now, I'm not saying that's what we're here in the room doing and denying kids. I buy all of mine if I can online. So I'm not competing with children in the toy aisles. I very rarely will pick up anything in the toy aisle. The last one that I got was actually this guy at the airport. And I was like, okay, there's a couple of them. I'll grab. Hello. I'm not as handsome as Sentiman, but I'll take a close up. I got this from the airport, and I thought, well, I probably will never see them on the shelves again. There was more than one. So I knew that no one was going to miss out if they also wanted to grab one off the shelf. But it's at the airport. That's not convenient for anyone to buy a toy.
Yeah, the airport was that at the duty free, like you were getting your bottle of Jack Daniels and a Motu figure.
As an adult collector, I'm entitled to both. But I don't.
I've not seen that figure.
If I can get away with buying anything online, I will. I believe wholeheartedly that we're stripping kids of the possibility of play and imagination by going in and stripping them of everything that is cool that we once knew was cool, and leaving them with barely anything. Even Matchbox. You can't even go and get a Hot Wheels car or a Matchbox car anymore because adult collectors are in there elbowing each other trying to get, whatever the good thing is.
Yeah.
Mate, you don't have the adrenaline rush of fighting a 7-year-old in an aisle for an action figure. That's what
that is one thing I miss, though.
It's sad if you lose the battle. Though. I don't want to go down.
It is
it's like the $35-40 or whatever, but it's like when one of your kids turns around and says, "Oh, can I have that?" I said, "You don't. Of course you can. I'll pre-order it. You'll have it in 2025." And they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
When people turn around and say kids don't collect toys anymore, that's because there isn't any toys for kids, really. You know, when we were kids, your mum had a couple of dollars or a couple of pounds in your pocket. Yeah, I'll get him that figure. He's been a good lad this week or whatever. Now,
your point's well taken. I mean, lousy distribution, the fact that like you guys are in Australia and maybe you get, Xazyl, you just held up something that we've never seen here in the States yet that I'm aware of.
Never seen that.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
We have lost that experience now, haven't we? The actual ability to go out and go to a shop, even as an adult, go to a store and find that figure. You know it's going to be there on the shelves. You walk in. We don't have that now. Mm-mm. But I also think it's a bit like what Phil said earlier. Where in the world? I mean, like Matt and Andy, do you guys have a real struggle getting? Because I know in Australia you sometimes struggle to get lines, don't you? I mean, do you find it easy to get this line in Oz, or is it readily available?
It's only sort of starting the one Xazyl showed that wave there.
Yeah.
It's started to turn up in the Big W in a.
Right.
I would say.
I think we got series 1, then we skipped about 4 or 5 series, and we might have got another one, and and you might only get two boxes. It's not like the masses to get in the 80s.
Yeah.
You just get one or two.
It's just crazy.
We've just lost that.
But things like Jurassic Park, we're getting all the latest stuff, and I think because that comes out of Vietnam now, the dinosaurs, where I think the Motu still comes out of China, and I think it might be a bit of a distribution. That's the word.
Good teamwork.
Still out of China, or is it a Vietnam now?
If I can figure out how this bloody camera works, there it is.
Vietnam.
Vietnam. Okay, so that's why we're probably getting that wave more now, because I've noticed that's because it's coming out of Vietnam, where the original waves came out of China. So that might be one of the issues as well.
I just think that's something that we've lost. I mean, don't get me wrong. The great thing about the internet is you can go onto eBay or wherever, you can generally find whatever figure you want. But even as an adult, I miss going to the toy store and going in, knowing that it's going to be there on the shelf and grabbing it. That physical experience, I miss that. I really do, even as an adult. I really do.
I think we talk about
scalpers going out there. Sorry, Adam, but scalpers are going out there. It's just to my point before. Adult collectors are buying this stuff because we want it in our collection. Kids maybe would like it, but there's not enough there. Because if we're not buying it, the scalpers know we want it. Yeah. And then they go in early morning, grab everything, and you see pictures on the internet of guys still in the supermarket with a trolley filled with toys and going, look at my today's score. Who wants it? Selling for this much, or bargaining while still in the supermarket. And then they throw them on eBay, and then that's where we're buying. That's where we're buying them from.
Here's a question for everyone then. So this, I mean, maybe this has been happening for a while, and it's just missed me. But I'm part of a few toy collecting groups on Facebook now, as I'm sure a lot of you guys are. And what they've started to do now is members of the groups. Now it's whether this is good or bad. It depends how you see it. They're going into stores, and if there's 5 Motu figures on the shelf, they're grabbing them all and then distributing them to collectors in the groups at retail price, rather than says, look, I'm going to get them all to stop the next scalper coming in, and then I'll dish them all out to collectors that want them at retail price. But in theory, you're still then taking them all off the shelf, even though
the kids are still losing.
Yeah, so
it's happening now with
I don't know.
It's happening now with the Stridor. It's in Ross, which is a department store in America. The Stridor, which was $35, is now $4.99. That's it.
I mean, what
so we all got a few of them. Yeah, you never know. I might need a green one. I might need a red one. So I had to find one or two. You know what I'm saying is, you make a good point, because then you'll go on Marketplace and everyone's got them up at full retail price. So that's $35, even though they've got them at $4.99. You know what I mean? So I understand what you're saying, and I think that's what the issue is for me, especially with my children, because you'll sit down and watch a TV show. and Jonathan's just made a good point about it as well. And your kids will be well into it. You can't pick them up, take them to the store, and let them pick what they want. And I think that's what Origins did, because it was a $15 figure at the time. So even if they broke it, even if you weren't bothered, you could easily replace that. And it's not like you're buying a $40 fully articulated little bits, that and so forth, you know. And it's a shame, really, because I don't know whether you do it with your children there, but when your kids walk in, it's like a museum. Don't touch that. Don't touch that. No, don't touch that. I know it says ages 4, but don't touch it, you know.
I think that's what's so appealing about Origins too, is that they're so, you can pop off the arms, pop off the head. Like my 6-year-old son, he can't break them. Like it's almost, he almost can't. I give him a vintage collection Star Wars figure and he'll snap the arm off or snap the leg off in 5 minutes. I'm like, well, what am I paying $18 for him to break it? And so I think Origins, man, they did a great job at designing that product.
And those colors, I mean, they grab you just like the originals.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing about the Star Wars, when he breaks a figure, you say to him, don't worry, I'll pre-order you another one. It don't really work.
I'll get it for triple the price on eBay.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can get you one for 60.
Well, I mean, one of the things about it, though, I mean, I haven't got a big vintage thing, but the nicest thing about Masters of the Universe now is it's flawless. You can put your vintage with your Origins, and it just seamlessly goes together. And I love
doing it up there.
Yeah, when you have your Star Wars, you have your Black Series over there, you have your vintage over there. You don't really mix them and put them together, but with Motu, you can just have a big collection and everything's on it, you know. And that's why I absolutely adore this line. I think it's.
You know what I think the biggest miss with the Origins line was? The biggest miss, and it's also hand in hand with the thing they do the best. You know those little commercials they do where it's like 30 seconds of stop motion with the figures?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That should have been in place of the Netflix show.
Yeah.
So good.
That
motion show
where it's just the toys.
Yes.
That would have been a better show than the Netflix show. Like that's the CGI show.
Yeah.
And kids would have wanted the toys.
Yeah, would have hooked them.
Yeah. And then you put all your money into one line, because there was a while you go to the store and you see 4 different Motu series of figures, and you're like, well, they're really dividing their audience here. Give us a kids line and give us a collector's line. If you want to, just 2. Get rid of the CG one, get rid of the little mini ones, and but if that was the show, I think it would have been way more engaging for kids and way more engaging for us. I think that should have been those little 30-second things are so good. And they missed the opportunity.
On Mattel Creations, they just released another one of those stop motion videos. I want to shout out the guy that actually does it, but I'm just gonna figure out who the guy's name. Oh, so it's someone who his name's Justin. Yes, there we are.
He's got his own YouTube channel, Xazyl.
Yeah. So that is pretty cool. Good on him. He does it the way when I look at those. Thanks for that. The way I look at those commercials is the actual. That is how, as kids, we saw Masters of the Universe. That's how we played. That's how it sort of was in our minds. Oh, Phil's back.
Hey, I'm back. It's my awesome Japanese internet.
Please deposit another 5 yen.
Bring it in, Phil. Bring it in.
It's weird though when you say that, Phil, because you're in Japan. We would have thought you'd have 3D internet or something like that. Do you know what I mean? We could all touch you or something, you know?
Yeah.
Right, well, I want to show you all something. So I wanted to do it on the hour, which is what we're getting up to now. And I asked you all to send me pictures and so forth. So this is a gallery, gentlemen.
Yes.
Oh,
nice.
Hope it's got gallery music.
Oh, well, maybe.
I charge shabby $20 for my photos.
There we go.
We're talking about more two pictures there.
This is some of their collection. Hey!
Nice.
Look at that.
Oh no, we lost Phil.
No, Phil's right. I actually saw Phil in the gallery.
I take back my previous statement. That should be the Netflix show. It's just our collection.
It's just awesome because I asked you all to, and that's the thing about this line. In there, we had so much different master stuff, but it all just is flawless. Everything goes in together. One of the things also, when Xazyl sent me, I was looking for that Mr. T I was after it and it just went, and then that was one that soared up in price over here. I got up to $90, but I love that figure. Do
you have it yet, Shabby?
No, I don't. Could never find it. So it was
there's one here at actually the Ron Slaughter shop. That's not expensive. I'll go grab it for you next week.
Oh yeah, do and I'll PayPal you, no problem. That's awesome. Well, yeah, I just loved it. So thank you all so much for that. It's just nice to see all you, because like I said, we all talk behind the scenes and we see our stuff and we watch each other's videos, and everybody's videos and everybody's YouTube channels are in the description as well. So if you need to find everybody and Rob on Instagram, then they're all right down there. So because there's names I've never seen before. So thank you all so much.
I want to say, and he's gone again, but my favorite Motu moment of the year, and it was in the gallery. So thanks, Classified. So we're doing Mo Tuesdays, and so Phil and Xazyl and I are becoming the bestest of friends. And so knowing Phil, there he is. Knowing Phil loves Web Store so much, and then seeing him get the vintage carded one this year, that was my favorite Motu moment. Was when Phil posted that. He's like, "Look what I got, boys!" And I was
that's so cool. I was like, on card. Oh,
yeah,
that's glorious.
It's my favorite Motu moment.
You know, Origins brought the vintage back for me. That's what it was. I think it's been such a long time since Masters Universe was the center of my mind, because, like I said, I had a couple of the vintage figures, but it wasn't as if I was all in for Star Wars. Then obviously Transformers, the Studio 86 came, and the DC Superpower. And then it was when Origins came back. Like when I went to Joe Fest, I bought a vintage Cyclone, and Pete's gone out and got a 2-bad and a She-Ra Castle. So I've started to get bang into the vintage again, but it's because of Origins is why I got back into the vintage. And I think that's what makes it so flawless. I don't know, and I think that's why I enjoy collecting both of them, vintage and Origins. I just think it's a superb line together.
I didn't have any Origins at all until I had the Masters of the WWE Universe Sergeant Slaughter. And I was like, well, he's based off my favorite Masters of the Universe character Duncan, if you're on a first name basis. So I had to get Duncan.
Pete's mate Duncan. Yeah, we know him.
I knew Pete knew him. Like they were first name basis. I was like, well, I got to get Duncan. So I got Duncan and I got Sergeant Slaughter. And I'm like, well, I've got to have a He-Man, surely. So I got a He-Man. I was like, well, you've got to have a Battle Cat for He-Man because it looks weird without it. So I got a Battle Cat. So we've got to have Skeletor, right? So then I got Skeletor, and then I was like, well, he needs minions. So then you're all over the place. And then you're like, oh, these are really hard to get. Then you're pulling your hair out. I'm just lucky I'm covered in so much hair that you barely noticed I'd lost anything. Except my wallet.
Brilliant. I will win. Sorry, I win. Question for everyone: has anyone played? I didn't even know there was a Masters Universe PlayStation 2
It's
game.
awful. It's.
We get PJC to play it.
Yeah, we need Terry to do it.
It's based on the 2000X show, and it's real dingy and like that kind of like you're in dungeons a lot, and it's not. Masters was fun. Like it's always been fun and magical and bright, and that game is the opposite of it.
Jared, play it for us. Do it so we don't have to.
Well, got him back. So Peppermint's asking the video's thumbnail. Where anyone who knows it and anyone who made it, well, I'll just show you right here, and then the person who made it is on this screen. Brilliant. And there's two. I made one, so I'll show them both. This is the one right here, which is the one, and Adam made it.
Yeah.
Oh, legendary.
Just trying to have some fun.
That's so
hilarious.
Yeah. Why am I?
Well, that's what started it, Shabby. I was going to make a gag where you're Orko, and then I was like, well, if I can make Shabby Orko, I'll see if I can make the rest of the guys some people as well. But I think that should be your T-shirt for your channel. Shabby. You as Orko.
It's awesome. And then
What the S?
Absolutely.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby. Yeah. And then we have that one right there. That's
Nice.
good.
I love Monkey Boy.
I know.
Brilliant on there.
Psycho's the only picture I haven't got is Phil, so I thought, I'll have a look. And then I went through Phil's videos. I think I gave Phil about 50 views going through these videos.
For the views, Chevy. Always appreciated.
Phil woke up in the morning and went, hang on a minute, how come I've got 400 views on that?
I was wondering why I got a spike. Thanks, Chevy.
I saw the one with the glasses, and I thought, "Oh, well, that's perfect," because we all know He-Man wore sunglasses. So I mean,
yeah.
So,
that looks just like Phil to me, though. Everyone else is on He-Man bodies, but Phil just looked normal in that photo.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah.
That's how I
when
get out of the shower.
When you're saying you gave Phil a bunch of views, you get your YouTube weekend updates and whatnot, or your stats review, and sometimes every week or two, my Robin Hood Prince of Thieves video will get 1 view. I'm like, oh, thanks, Xazyl.
It's my favorite video.
Leaves another comment.
Yeah.
Feels good.
Are you checking out Sergeant Slaughter's Slaughterhouse later on? Why do we have to check out that in 11 hours? Xazyl, what's going on?
Oh, we've got Figure House Games is returning the monthly members game stream.
So fun.
Yeah. I'd forgotten it was on tomorrow, so I better set my alarm.
and I'll give a little promo for people that join up and play. Tonight's prize is I think it's a complete or near complete set of vintage G.I. Joe trading cards.
Whoa.
Well done, Space Commander, on getting yourself a set of cards.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed. Phil's just like, what?
You sound salty.
Yeah. I've got to admit, Sign Adam did a great job on those thumbnails. They really did.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
No, I've never had white hair. I don't know where this thing comes from. This I tell you, I'm getting low. Right, I had to dye my hair, boys, because I was going grey at my late 20s, but I ended up going white, and I look like one of the bloody Golden Girls when I'm on here. Do you know what I mean? So, because I said to my wife, right, I don't want to dye my hair because I know these lads will take me to the cleaners. And for the past month, I've been taking. Luke knows my pain. Luke knows.
So
when me and Luke say do something, it just go on.
I don't want to dwell on this too much, but can you just do me a favor, take your hat off one more time? Just take up. So I think if you, with this new look of yours, went to conventions with a sign and pretended to be the guy who played Eddie in the Munsters, you would fool everybody.
Because what it was it wasn't. I said to Jen, I don't want to dye my hair. The lads will clear me out, right? I just want to darken the grey. So she got me this stuff where what you're supposed to do is when you get in the shower, you're supposed to put a little bit on, rub it in, and your hair will eventually just go a darker grey. Well, that wasn't me, was it? So what I did was I put it on my hair like a dye, sat on the couch for 15 minutes, then washed it off. And you're meant to do it once a week, and I'm doing it 4 times a week. So that's why I look like this. Do you know what I mean?
Chevy dyes his hair like he buys toys. Yes, more.
It's Chevy Club for men.
Oh, no. I'm so embarrassed. Like I said, Luke will contest. Me and Luke get so much of this. Like, it's ridiculous, But,
all right, fellas, real quick, I got to go. It was good chatting with y'all. I got to take my son to his baseball game.
Okay, Rob.
Nice talking to
y'all. Y'all have a great chat. I'll catch you on the replay.
Cheers,
We're about to get a whole lot handsomer with him gone now. All right, who's the next up? Shabby, your real estate's gone up.
Yeah, it looks so bad now, Chevy.
Not so shit.
So, speaking of the Masters of the Universe video games, did anybody else as a kid play Golden Axe and pretend it was He-Man?
That was, there was very much an appeal there to play that, because of Motu.
I just thought of that. It's He-Man.
Yeah.
I never lasted very long in that game.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal.
My kids still love playing that game. I have a retro Genesis, And we as a family often will like play Golden Axe, and when you die, you hand the controller to the next family member.
Right, the next thing I want to talk about, boys. Oh, now is this bad boy. Now I know there's one or two people on this panel that are getting this bad boy, but what do we all think? I mean, this was expensive. What was it, Pete? $650 all in. It's pricey, wasn't it?
$550. Yeah, something like just shy of $6.
Yeah. So what did we think?
So it was $750 Canadian, in case you guys want to do a little conversion.
Wow, was it?
Yeah,
it was $1 million Australian dollar.
Yeah.
Dude.
The Dr. Evil.
Our dollar is the shitter, isn't it?
So what are your thoughts, though? I mean, do you think it was outpriced? Would you have got one if it was in full retail? Are you happy that they've made it?
So this to me was the ultimate embracing of Origins, going from a line to get kids into it, which is where it started, to being this is just for collectors. It was it was a thing that, as a kid, it was a huge thing in a store, and it looked like a fun play set. This was just meant the fact it was online, it was a high price point, and it is what it is. Now it is a good way to get an Eternia in your collection if you don't have a vintage one. Like it's great for that. So I think it does scratch a collector need. But to me, it was like such a departure from what the Origins line started as that I was like, it wasn't appealing to me. But it's awesome.
It was because of that. I mean, we're not like Scuba Pete. I mean, if I just make Scuba big, you'll see right behind him, right there.
Maybe you want two in your collection. And you don't have to put up with the fragile track. If you watch the video where I fracture it.
That video, that was
slow
that
mo.
video.
One of my favorite videos. Putting that together.
Cry heard around the world, wasn't it? Cry heard around.
Every time I shrieked at my own phone. I can't remember the last time I squealed watching the video.
So much bourbon and then the repair.
The thing is, though, the way he edits that video, he snaps it, then he comes back, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, there is no way you just went, oh,
what was in between?
There was 24 hours in between those cuts.
Just sobbing.
There was a few holes in the wall.
That would be a great channel for your wife to have, just called Behind the Scuba. And it's just shots of you crying when you break stuff.
Cussing, pouring a bourbon. Son of a... Yeah.
Swearing 80s toys.
Swearing 80s. But it was so funny because I was working with Jeff Barker, who found this. He had went to a shop that wasn't even open yet. And the fellow let him go in the back and kind of just pilfer through all of his storage boxes or whatever. And Jeff happened to take a couple snapshots, and here's some towers of Eternia sticking out. And he was just randomly sharing that. And I'm like, wait, go back. And I'm like, there's an Eternia in that box. How complete is it? And he was like, oh, I don't even know what that is. And he's like, I'm like, call that dude and ask him, and then let's talk. And so we called, and he's like, well, it's missing just a couple things. I'm like, let's talk turkey. And he's like, we're doing this. And I'm like, we're doing this. We'd already shipped the Defiant cross country, and I'm like, we're doing it again. We're gonna send Eternia, from Idaho to the Midwest. Let's do it. And then shortly thereafter was, hey, the crowdfund is going to be Eternia. And it was like, what the France? I mean, like, it's raining Eternia all of a sudden. And several shops started to have a vintage one again. And it's just like all this, it was just this buzz. And I'm like, I'm in. I want it, even just for the track.
I've got no.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
I've got no nostalgic connection with Eternia. Like I was already out of Motu when it came out. I think it came out 86 or 87, one of the later.
Yeah, very, very
later
late
waves. And it's not since I became an adult collector that I actually knew this Eternia playset even existed. So I mean, it looks bloody beautiful, but in terms of the price and the shipping cost to get it to Japan, it's just not really an option for me. But
yeah.
Can we also talk about the footprint that it takes? Like for me,
it's
real estate is huge.
Yeah.
Right? So just to display that is
Yeah.
And
the new one's even slightly taller than the vintage, and the vintage is like, I forget what it's like, 42 inches or something. So I mean the Origins one is going to take up even more vertical space.
We'll fit it in.
Yeah. I mean, it looks spectacular, doesn't it? But it looks unbelievable. You look at it, you just think, wow. But yeah, to accommodate it, I mean, I've got a very modest sized room. To get it in here would be impossible. So as much as I would love one, there's no way I could afford it.
I think because we all know Luke has a twin bed with some awesome Star Wars sheets. I've slept in it. No, I haven't. But I have seen it, and I did want to take a nap in it. Maybe you build like a table above it so you can still get under there to sleep, but then you've got more display space.
Like a crew bunk in a yacht.
Yeah.
That's it. You're always thinking.
That's a frighteningly good idea that I've not thought about.
I mean, that's a twin mattress full of flat space. I'm just saying.
I'm kind of like in the same way Phil was, really. I don't really have a nostalgic I'd always known about it, but we'd never seen one. I'd never seen one in the stores when I was a kid. I'd never, do you know what I mean? And then it wasn't until we saw the back of the card. It was on one of the boxes, and I went, they're making a turn here. Do you remember, Pete? We all had that card. I don't think I said, I'm telling you, they're going to do it. It's right there. But I think to me, it was, I mean, luckily, you're going to hate me for this. Luckily, I've got mine bought for me. So I'm I know. I've got nice brothers and nice friends.
I'm going to have a chat with Si. Just look, I'm a lot closer, mate. It'd be cheaper for you to just buy it for me. That's what
He's awesome for that. It's like I said to him, he went to NEC last week, and I messaged him and said, mate, if you can find me an Action Man. No, I don't remember, like I said, 12-inch G.I. Joes, but I loved Action Man as a kid. We had the Jeep, we had the, you know what I mean, the tank and all that sort of stuff. If you find one relatively cheap, you know what I mean, just let me have a look, and you can get me that for my birthday. So he said, all right, yeah, fair enough. He phones me when he gets back, and he goes, I didn't buy you an Action Man. I bought you an unopened minting box Fort Curry and Brave Star. I went, oh, well, that's a bit more than that.
Has he said it yet?
No,
he said it. Right.
Yeah,
okay.
you're good.
I'm not listening to that.
And I was like, oh, thanks. Brilliant.
Get ready for that footprint, buddy.
Oh, I couldn't believe he said it. I was like, yeah, and I'll definitely put that. But I don't know whether, because like I said, I bought the Brave Star at Joe Fest, and that's because of you, bloody Reynolds, getting all those Brave Stars and doing all that's your fault for that.
Bloody hell.
But no, the thing about the Eternia place, I think this was an opportunity for us to get one now. So all those people, like I said, because I mean, how much is a complete one? About $2,000-$3,000. They're expensive, aren't they?
Yeah, they're way up there.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Where I'm never going to spend money like that ever. But so to get an opportunity,
after watching Scuba's video, I'd definitely go. If I had to make the choice, vintage or Origins with the Eternia, I'd go Origins just after watching.
Much more forgiving that modern plastic.
Even my blood pressure was going through the roof watching that.
But can I Adam will probably be able to tell me, because Adam seems to know his onions. I mean, you know, it's a line that I love, but my knowledge when it comes to Motu is certainly limited. But I look at Eternia and the Eternia place, and I think, I don't ever remember seeing anything that resembled that in the cartoon or anything like that. You know,
not even close.
So where's that come from?
It was just, they took lore. Lore. They took like a little bit of Castle Grayskull, a little bit of Snake Mountain, and they said, what can we? Remember, like when they were designing it, not when they released it, when they were designing it, Motu is untouchable. Right, like it was on this trajectory that they could just do whatever, they could print their own money, and at that time, big play sets were a thing. The Flag, the Defiant, like everybody had these big things. So the idea was, how much bigger can we get, and that's where they came up with the idea of the monorail and that. But there's no connection to it at all in the show.
Because I do sometimes look at it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks spectacular. You look at it and just think, what a thing of beauty. But then immediately after it, I go, I don't recall anything that resembled that. You know,
it looks more like a
or whatever
to me.
Yeah. You would think so. Yeah.
Collector.
I've seen Scuba in toy buying mode. He's like a lion storekeeper. He's crazy. I've never seen. Honestly, the biggest experience is going toy shopping with Scuba Pete. He's a psychopath. He's a psychopath.
Yeah.
I'm like a Hoover vacuum.
You seen him in Joe Fest, Terry. He was laser focused, and if he found something he liked, everyone heard it.
Yeah. I'm like, yes.
It would appear Andy's like that.
And he's gone.
In the zone.
You're talking away to him, Matt, and then you look aside. And he's just disappeared. You're having a conversation with him.
And to be fair, Chevy was like in Joe Fest all of like 5 minutes, and he's like, "Woohoo! Commercial Brave Star."
Next year, I'm going to go to Joe Fest, but I'm going to bring a folding table. I'm just going to set it up in the parking lot, and then I'm not going to bring any spending money. I'm just going to sell out my other stuff to Shabby, and then I'll take that to be my spending money when I go.
There you go.
That's
we could have a room sale.
We have a they were at Joe Fest, Chromag Toys. They have a vintage shop here, and me and G-Force said, well, let's take Scuba when he comes. So Scuba came, and by the time me and G-Force had just walked around the store like that, his box was like this. I've never seen
just making a pile.
Full of stuff. It was unbelievable. It really was. The amount of stuff he bought was great. Well, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
It's been reinforced. I mean, when you're hunting in the wild, especially a convention, when you see it, you buy it. You don't say those dreaded words of, I'll think about it and I'll come back, because it is not going to be there.
No, that's right.
It will not.
So I want to say, though, maybe this isn't the stream to do it, but I'm going to say it anyways. We've talked about Shabby's buying habits, and we've talked about Scuba's buying habits. So after Joe Fest, Xazyl came to Canada and hung out with me for a week, which was just the best week ever. But unfortunately, the airline lost his luggage. So for a 36-hour period, he had no luggage here.
He was naked?
Almost. He had one shirt and one pair of pants. And so I said, let's go to Walmart and get you some clothes. And shopping for clothes with Xazyl it was like school shopping with my mom. Now, keeping in mind, he had nothing to wear. If he didn't buy a shirt, he wasn't going to have anything to wear in the morning. He kept going, no, that's not quite what I like. And he looked at Walmart. Didn't find a shirt he liked, and we went home with no shirt. He's like, no, it wasn't.
Hey, Dave, nice to see you. Thanks for coming in, buddy. That's awesome.
But oddly, he hit the toy aisle.
When you go shopping, do you end up just in the toy aisle anyway? You go, I'm going to go there and get clothes and get this, and then you spend about an hour in the toy aisle anyway, and you're looking to forget what you actually went there to get.
Never has anybody needed clothes more, and he just seemed disinterested.
His video, he did one for 2 hours with Space Commander. When he come back from job, that was one. I sat down and I made a sandwich. I thought, I'll watch these, or I'll see what it is. So I'm buying this sandwich, and he's going, "Oh yeah, my stomach," and I had to have a shit. And I thought, "Oh, thank God, what's the toys?" I'm like, "That was my sandwich." Just
what is happening on this channel? Don't call me out like that.
He's walking around Joe Fest hungover with sunglasses on. Hey, how's it going?
Absolutely brilliant.
That me and Space Commander had so much fun doing that live stream, but I will concede that there was a lot of conversation about going to the bathroom. I didn't realize it was going to be over 3 hours of that discussion, and I apologize. But I thought also, Adam, go through it.
Distressed.
Yeah. See, you get it, buddy. G-Force Racing. Now, that's one of the guys that I know, and we got to meet, which was great.
Yeah.
But sometimes you know people by face because they stream. Sometimes you know people by name. So going through Joe Fest, it was like, oh, I know this person. And you go over and say hi. But then there are other occasions they're like, oh, hey, hey, how you going? And then they go, I'm this person on YouTube, and oh my God! Okay, go on in, bring it in. And I had a few of those occasions, and G-Force Racing 20 was one of them. But Adam, thank you for bringing up that lack of decisiveness in my clothing. I thought you were going to go a different route with that story.
I'm sorry.
I thought you were going to go with the Ron Slaughter one, where I was unable to actually purchase anything because my Aussie dollars wouldn't work. But instead, you called me out for my inability to pick up a Walmart T-shirt. I have standards. If it's not a black polo shirt or a checkered button-up, I don't want to know about it. And wearing a T-shirt that had Britney Spears on it doing one of these.
Oh, baby. Listen, she's back. She's back. No, I will say, when Xazyl came to Canada, I tried very hard to be as polite and welcoming as I could to anybody who would be a guest in my home in Canada. And so when we go out and we would do lunch and we would do like trying to buy him clothes and whatnot, I would try to pay for his. I tried to like accommodate my guest, and he got very like, I wouldn't say violent, but very pushy to the point where we would be like Stampy the elephant, wailing each other out of the way who could get their debit card out fastest at the register. And it got awkward a couple times. But we went to this toy store and he tried all of his cards, and the guy's like, "No, for some reason, your Australian dollars are not any good here." And I was like, "Yes, I get to buy Xazyl something fine."
It's funny because you talk about you just been talking about T-shirts, and obviously I have a love for German and all that sort of stuff. So my son, it was my birthday yesterday. My son bought me this for my birthday.
Bless him.
And he's laughing, and he's going, "What do you think? What do you think?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's nice, thanks." So I'll have to wear that on a live stream. Tez and Matt will love that.
You better.
Know? But anyway, we've got a thing here. Men of a certain age, Xazyl, need to turn more. That's what it is. So
thank you. All right,
especially when you're on the lash.
I appreciate. See, this is what I'm talking about. This kind of support is what I was looking for. So,
the thing about it, you say that about your dollary dues not working. I think Leslie was nearly arrested once, Luke, in England that time. I mean, to tell you all, Mrs. Scuba
she's still wanted by Interpol.
Yeah, obviously when Scuba and Leslie visited us, we went to a little town called Firey, which is only around 20-25 minutes away from where we are. And there's a tiny little vintage toy shop there. It's a really strange toy shop because the guy that's there is a little bit. He never seems to be in a brilliant mood. It's almost like it's his store. And almost like he doesn't want to be there. I had a conversation. The last time I went in there, I had a conversation with him about. I said, "Look, I've got a very small YouTube channel. Do you mind if I do a little bit of filming? Blah blah blah." He's like, "Well, I'd rather you didn't." And I said, "Well, yeah, but I've got a few friends that collect. They might see the video, maybe get in contact. I can maybe sell you a few bits." "Well, if I sold a lot of stuff, then I wouldn't have anything in the store." I said, "Well, don't you then get the money the things you've sold and maybe go out and buy some more stock?" And he's like, "No, I'd rather not. Anyway." So I was like, look, Pete, we've got this tiny little vintage toy store. Well, I'll take you to it, but the guy that runs it is a bit anyway. So he went on one of his best days, but Pete picked up some Lego. So Leslie went to pull some money out to pay him, and she pulled out a £5 note that went out of out circulation about 8 years ago, and I didn't spot it. And she handed in this £5 note, and he was just like, "What the hell's that? Wait, what's that? You're in the UK. What the hell is this?" And I was like, "Whoa, they're from out of town, dude. It's fine." And we sorted it out. But then I realised when she offered me some money to pay for the parking. And it's like, "It's fine, Leslie, it's fine." She went, no, and offer me some change of £1 coins that have been out of circulation for about 10 years. Have you got anybody that works, Leslie? It's fine.
Out of circulation, who gave him to her? Dick Turpin.
That guy he was such a jerk. He was so like, "Hey, what are you on about?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "We're from America. Our money never expires."
I'm just going to show you one more thing now. If anyone in the chat has any questions for anybody, though, because this is the last subject I'm going to pull up at the moment, put your questions in the chat, and you can ask any of these fine gentlemen anything.
Nothing about Walmart, nothing about the bathroom. I'm talking enough about that.
But the next thing I want to talk to you about is this. Oh, so that won the crown fund. So it was, what was it? The attack track. It was the Horde tank. It was the Horde tower. The attack track, like I said, and this won it.
Now, I do not believe that this won anything. I think they were already going to make this, and they just gave us the false sensation that this is what we wanted. No way Attack Track was not going to get a vote over this. Now, we're talking about nostalgia, right? A lot of people had nostalgia for Eternia, but you know, a lot of people also, you know, like Adam and myself, didn't really know anything about it. This is a whole other thing. It's like it's not anything. It's nothing. It's a nothing thing.
Nope.
Adam can make something 3D printed and it'll be just as cool, if not cooler.
It's a nothing thing. Brilliant.
It's a nothing.
Tell us what you really think, man.
Okay, it's all right. I love it. Yeah.
The fact that it's unproduced.
With a show of hands in this group of 9 guys here, who wants to buy this?
Me.
$20. $20.
I want
It's a play set, Adam.
It's a play set, but it's to me. I'm like Xazyl said. It's just
right. Yeah, there's
nothing there. So
has it ever come out in another? It clearly wasn't in vintage.
I don't know.
It was
wasn't bought out in.
You know, one of those
either?
things like it could have been.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but no,
it's going to have to be Eternia Xazyl, because Robbie was on just before was saying, as long as it's the same price as Grayskull and Snake Mountain, no chance. This is going to be, it's going to be a lot bigger. But I agree. But I think they're going to make the attack track, because if they're going to do the Filmation and this is aimed at Filmation, then I think that's going to come anyway. Do you see what I mean? But I agree. I think they already knew what was. Because if you had a look at them in the Snake Light, was, you know, they made.
What was the other Fright Zone? And it was like, that's too small to be like a super project.
No, Fright Zone should be out anyway. Yeah, that I think will go straight to Mattel Creations, won't it now? But I don't think it'll be.
Fright Zone and Slime Pit should be no-brainers. Just put them up in Mattel Creations. Let them be like enough.
And let you order them for months. Get your order in. None of this baloney of. Sorry, we ran out. That was if you didn't get it in the first hour or 15 minutes or 5 seconds. It's gone. Sorry.
They really do a good job of making the thing we love not fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not collectible.
And that's but was the snake lair in the cartoon? I can't remember the snake lair. So it's a completely new thing.
Nothing.
I've got no attachment to it.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree with Xazyl as well, because the amount of snake men we've had over the past few months, we've done snake men, man, haven't they? So it was obvious what was coming. So, but who's going to pick it up then? Just me and Scuba. That's it. Monkey Boy, you not fancy it?
No, not really. Well, because I don't open anything. I don't really. Yeah, I mean, I got my Snake Mountain last week, and I'm just displaying it in the box. So you know, to buy this, I think I don't really have the space to display something like that.
You know what would have been cool that they wasn't an option, but would have been awesome, was if they would have released the original playset that Snake Mountain was based on, like the jungle playset.
Oh yeah.
Right. So like when He-Man was like a jungle guy. So and then they recolored it purple for Snake Mountain. Release that set. Like that'd be awesome. There's like a lineage there.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Andrew, what do you reckon? I mean, what puts you off? Is it the fact that you've got it's going to cost you twice as much getting to Australia, or are you just not interested?
That'd be the thing, and be the postage. But I wouldn't mind picking it up if I could. That's for sure.
I can't fit in my room.
I
want to be attacked.
How big is this thing supposed to be? Is this Eternia size type of thing, or is it sort of?
Gotta be. I mean, well, they said on that video yesterday that they're launching it spring of 2024. Now, what does that mean?
It's going to be Snake Mountain, but it's going to be a retool of Snake Mountain. Guarantee it.
I think
can't guarantee that. Actually, I don't know why I said guarantee. I can't guarantee that. Take away that guarantee. But
almost going to be exactly Grayskull size, because if you go back, Shabby, it has the handle at the top the same as Grayskull.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, go back to that image.
I guarantee you, it's a retool of Castle Grayskull.
I'd rather have a Go Figure Grayskull any day.
Exactly.
Right? Give me that thing.
Hang on, what have I done here now?
Shabby, it's a computer. You click it.
That hair dye's gone right to your brain.
I guess I will say the caveat being, if they come out with some just redonkulous price, then it'll be easy to.
I was going to say, it's going to get snapped up, right? The collectors are going to go for it.
See the handle? That's the same kind of handle you have around his Grayskull, so it's not going to be big.
No, it's going to be Grayskull size.
Yeah. So when they say launch, then do you just reckon it's just going to be launched on Mattel Creations? It's not going to be a crowdfund, because we're not going to pay Eternia price if it's the same size as Snake Mountain. No, there's no chance.
No, but they'll
crowdfunding.
I do like the snake face kind of design on the left side. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the Medusa
nice
head is interesting.
Yeah. That's Lady Slither, though, isn't it? Is that what he was meant to be?
Yeah, but it's Medusa.
Damn it! Now I want it.
There you go.
You know, fits in the kind of like $120,
but
$120 neighborhood.
If the show on Netflix was the stop motion figures and they used this playset as a backdrop, now we're in.
Yeah, you're creating demand, and again, the kids have something like they need playsets. We love playsets. We loved playsets back then. Like, this whole self-perpetuated, like, oh, kids don't play with toys anymore, and be like, when's the last time you could turn on the TV and watch a cartoon on normal television?
And this morning, coming here, I tripped over my daughter's Crystal Palace, and her fingers on the floor coming to the Motu stream.
Oh, that's
it's awesome. Still Holly being played with, and I love that.
I would have screamed like a girl. No! Question for everyone: whose collection on the panel would you most like to have? Oh, I don't know.
I'd say, if it was up to me, if I could have anything from anyone's collection, and I wouldn't take it from anyone's collection, right? Because you know, I'm an Australian, but I'm not a convict. But if I could have anything from a collection, it would be Phil's stamps, especially the Fat Orko. Oh, yeah, I love that.
Those are cool.
He looks so cool.
They are pretty cool. Yeah.
If I was going to cosplay Orko, I'd look like him too. Just a big old chubby Orko. But those
if it was me, it'd probably be the Keep On Collecting lads. And the reason for that is Scott Crusher's face every time he goes to their house. Scott Crusher always is like, oh, do you know what I mean? He's like absolutely amazing.
I know. I want to sleep in their toy rooms.
Yeah, that's the best thing about their collection. Scott Crusher's face.
$20.
I taught a lesson last night on not coveting your neighbor's stuff. But that being said, no,
oh, sorry, Adam. Go.
No, I was gonna say, I don't. It's a weird thing. I don't want it. It's a great question, but I would want the experience that Phil had getting his mint on card web store, like getting the mint on card again, getting that like that. That was neat. Joy Polloy raises a great point when he says that the snake layer looks like the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons place at the Fortress of Fangs.
Yeah.
Very much so. Yeah. It's got that feel to it. Yep.
That's the green one. You've got it, Pete. You've got it.
Yep.
Yeah, I know which one you mean. Yeah. He's down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
I could never accommodate it, but I'd go Scuba. I want Eternia. I'd love one, but
just something to break. Yeah.
I would go Scuba.
Think about it, Luke. Scuba's broke all. He's putting it together. You don't want that. It's full of sellotape and glue and stuff.
But it's
Everything's plastic welded.
It's Scuba's though. So I would look at it and just go.
Survivor of Eternia's.
That was in that video where it went all slow mo and you had him sort of go. That. I would look at it and go, it's that one. That's why I want it.
History.
The most original collection is Adam's, though. All of his customs and his beauty Motu created and stuff. Like, you cannot replicate that. So I'd go Adam.
You make stuff, don't you, Phil, that you don't think you want till you see it and you go, yeah, I'll have that. Yeah, that's awesome. You know?
Yeah, that whole movie line. Oh.
Brilliant. And all of the different Skeletor variations that he's done as well, they're just, magnificent.
I think we all really back the attack track. Yeah, it was my first choice. To me, and I think Matt and you were the same. I think we did snake level attack track, didn't we? That's what we wanted. So I mean, listen, we'll see what happens when it comes. The fry zone should be done, yeah.
Right, Eb.
Yeah, I'd like the fry zone.
I think Eb had a point there with the that used to be the Snake Man's lair originally. If you watch the 2002 cartoon, that was their original. But I think the lair is like prehistory, pre-Eternia thing, isn't it? Goes back even further. Yeah,
it's neat. I think that if the snake lair, as it was shot in that picture, came out in '86 when Eternia came out, I think it would have sold better, and I think that it would have been a better decision back in the day than the massive. Like it was more in line with the three kind of like
lower price point, and again,
I think that would have made a better choice. Oh, my time machine
when it came out. How much was Eternia when it came? I have no idea how much was it. It must have been pricey back then.
It was one of the $100 toys, like the flag.
Right.
And
flag was 100.
Defiant, right? It was one of those $100 price tags.
Is that what makes the flag like it is? And like I said, me being a G.I. Joe novice, is the fact that it's one of those toys that, yeah, it's awesome to look at, but it's one of those that not many people could afford as families. So that's what makes it what it is. Or
definitely. I mean, I didn't have it as a kid. None of my friends had it. It was just the stuff of TV commercial legend.
There's also the rumor that it was never intended to sell, but it was cheaper for Hasbro to make a massive box in the store than to buy extra signage.
Yeah.
So they produced the toy, put the flag in stores, and they got the signage that they could sell. People bought them, but it would draw people to the G.I. Joe aisle because it was this massive billboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never believed all that talk that Hasbro said, we can't put that in stores anymore, the box is too big. Yet me and Pete took that photograph in Walmart with that massive tank that fits 2 kids.
Yeah, the kids can ride. Right.
It's like 5 times the size of anything else, you know.
It's like the size of a VW Beetle.
When we were kids, it was a toy section, not a toy aisle, right? There would be like a G.I. Joe aisle and a Motu aisle. Like it was glorious. And
it's sad it gets reduced just to a few pegs at best for a lot of those lines. And then it's like, hey, look, there's He-Man and Skeletor from 2020 still hanging there.
Time to be alive when we were kids, just to see aisles upon aisles upon aisles of toy stores. I don't know what it was like for you Aussie boys, but where I was growing up, if you went to a Kmart, you know, it was like the humongous toy section, and everything else seemed to be a little bit smaller. But now it's like a little toy section, and everything's clothing now, and
it's interesting. Not to get too existential, but Shabby, the question you asked was like, what is the future of Motu, right? Like, where is the future of it? And I think if we want to really embrace it, it's not even Motu. I've been working on a toy line idea for a while, and I've sent it out to a few companies, and all the responses have been like, "This is great stuff. We have zero interest in any new IPs whatsoever. There's no desire for that." And Motu was a risk. It was an idea that these guys had. So we need something. Let's figure it out ourselves. And so they went and they came up with Motu, and they did it. And it crushed. And without the desire to have a new idea, I think that's why we don't see many toys anymore, because no one's taking a risk. There needs to be a risk there. So I think the future of Motu is whatever toy company says next, let's take a gamble on something new and see what we can do with it, right? And I think that's the future of the lineage of Motu, is just come up with a new idea.
Brilliant. I can't fault that at all. That's exactly right. I mean, that's one of the things. It's sad. It's nice to collect, your Star Wars, your Transformers, your this, that. But we've been collecting it for 40 years. It would be awesome to see something a little bit more refreshing, a bit more new. So yeah, I couldn't agree more.
I think that new Netflix Motu animation show with the figure line that they've created is so much different, isn't it? So that's I think they've done a good job to appeal to the younger kids with that line. Like I don't think Origins really was designed from the outset for kids at all. I think it was solely designed for us kiddos, you know.
Good point. Yeah, I agree with that.
But yeah,
it's not as if there's been anything for He-Man, really, has there, for years? So when you 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds, they have to ask us, don't they? Well, what's this He-Man? You know, what's the newest? So yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah.
Question. Oh, go on. I'm sorry. Go on. Go.
No, I was going to say, just saying with that Netflix series of the He-Man one, that Newcastle Grayskull, that's awesome. You know, it's all electronic. The drawbridge drops down, but it makes the noise of the chains as it's coming down.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
The sword in and then activates it and all this sort of thing. It's just great.
Yeah.
Was that the CGI one that was?
Yeah, the CGI one. Yeah. It's really, it'd be a real fun one for kids if you're playing with. I mean, I really enjoy it actually. Up everything.
Which Filmation Motu character, asks, would you like to see made as a toy that wasn't made before? That's a tough one. What wasn't made?
What about the hover robots? I know they made them in classics, but I know it's not a creature, but I've always wanted like hover robots. They always just got destroyed, but you needed a lot. That's an army builder.
Yeah.
I was cold, but they've made him now. They did him in Mattel, which I missed out on. Which I was.
Those Shadow Beasts were always very cool looking.
Yeah.
I'd like the little
Shadow
puppy
would
from
be
the
cool.
Christmas special.
There it is. All right.
A deep
That's
cut.
it.
Not the kids, just the puppy.
Not the kids, the puppy.
Yeah, just the puppy.
Yeah, I'd like to see Origins do a Granomir, like the dragon that wasn't so expensive like
cool.
the classics ones, but a dragon would be. That would be
I
a
think
great.
it's about time. I think it's about time we had a Shadow Weaver. I know it's not a creature, but Shadow Weaver would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Did Super 7 do a Shadow Weaver when they did their Filmation line?
Yep.
Yeah.
The Masterverse have just done as well. They've just made, Masterverse
There
just
you go.
made one as well. So
okay.
Kmart, as a poor Scottish kid visiting Melbourne in '86, was Toy Valhalla. Trip to Red Rooster, driving off license for my aunt, and then off to Kmart. There you go. Red Rooster. What's Red Rooster?
It's like KFC.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
it's not fried chicken.
Yeah.
It's nothing like KFC.
It's
like a roast chicken. Rotisserie chicken.
KFC.
Rotisserie chicken.
Absolutely brilliant.
Oh, it's just roasted shit, isn't it?
Right. So to finish off, has anybody got anything? I mean, what do we think? I mean, I'm just happy Masters is still going. I've got to admit, it's brilliant to have it back in circulation, and people are talking about sharing it with your families now and so on. But so, what do you think? Where do you think this line's going to go? Do you think it's going to take off for a while, or?
Spike can just eat a dick. Oh, language. Sorry. I'll say. Sorry, Mum. That's Mum behind me there in the blue milk carton. Sorry, Mum.
Xazyl!
There he is. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Come on, play with me, Xazyl!
I thought we were friends, mate. I'll say this. I don't mind the look of this infiltrator, but I'm kind of over the Snake Men. I think like there are two specific army, right? Skeletor and his army were an eclectic group of mixed matched things and creatures, right? Love it. Love that. And then to a lesser extent, the Horde and Hordak, right? I think Hordak and his crew are pretty cool looking, but I was more of a Skeletor guy and Skeletor's minions. But even Hordak had an eclectic group of weirdos. But the Snake Men are all just Snake Men. And, you know, a couple of lizards and frogs or whatever. But, I don't know. It's kind of, it's not my jam.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree with that. It feels like there was just wave after wave after wave of them. And when it first started, you had 4 that came out. They were all from different. I mean, granted, the first wave was obviously Teela,
Right.
Duncan, Steve's best friend Duncan, and that. But no, I understand what you're saying.
Duncan, there's a Snake Man. I mean, come on. Get out of here. That's a pretty cool Duncan, though. What do you reckon of that, Duncan? Pete?
Yeah.
Right,
I like
it. Yeah. Any Duncan is a good Duncan. Any friend of Duncan is a friend of mine.
Tame the snakes.
Get me off the screen. Get out of here.
So Monkey, I think he's got a good point here, G-Force, because we all know that Skeletor is in practically every one of your videos.
Oh, there he is.
Good day to you, gentlemen.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's just here. He is watching.
Always.
So anybody else? Final thoughts? What do you think, Luke? Tell us your final thoughts, buddy.
Well, I mean, obviously, Motu Origins now. I mean, my collection, like I said earlier, is about where I want it to be. But I'm desperate for an attack track. We've already mentioned that. I'd love a Dragon Walker. You know, I think that's something that I'd like. But figures wise, now it's too obscure for me now. So I'm really happy with where it is with my collection. And after it'll probably stay around where it is now. If we get an attack track, I'll get that. Dragon Walker, definitely get those. I was going to mention to Dave earlier. You said did you get your Snake Mountain, Dave?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Now
I'm a bit out the loop on this one. Now I picked up an Origins. Sorry, I'm going off track, Shabby. I'm sorry. I picked up an Origins Castle Grayskull for like 50 quid. 2 years ago.
Wow.
What's the price point of the Snake Mountain now? Because I'm seeing some crazy prices.
Well, I pre-ordered mine because I got the fear of missing out, so I actually pre-ordered mine and I paid 119, I think, something like that. But I've seen it now available for. Sorry.
I mean, is that typical, that price?
Well, you can get it cheaper than that, but I wanted to make sure I got the US version rather than the Euro version. So I paid a little more.
Seems a lot more expensive than the Castle Grayskull. I just assumed they'd be around the same sort of price. But
that's what Grayskull's price when it came out was like $80.
Yeah. But I mean, there are them few bits I will pick up, but I'm happy with where my collection is now. So I hope Motu, Origins, it keeps going as a line. I really do, but I will probably dip out a little bit now.
Well, same thing for vintage, or you would carry on getting the vintage ones?
Well, no, I think I've probably got about everything vintage-wise that I would like as well, figures, because 2 or 3 years ago, I got that huge haul for Christmas that my brother bought from my friends that had sort of emptied their parents' attic. So I got a huge amount of vintage Motu in one go. There are still a few bits I'd like. I still don't have a vintage Dragon Walker. I don't have any. In fact, I might pick up Stridor. I haven't got Stridor vintage or Origins. Origins is really cheap now, isn't it? So there are still bits I would probably want and continue to pick up, but largely it's where I want it to be now. But I hope it continues for everybody that wants to just go all in for it. But personally, I'm probably about where I want to be.
Do kids play with toys? We talked about this before, Dave, and I think they do. I think if they get an opportunity to do it, I know there's so many things like you say, social media, your TikTok, your Instagram, and that kind of thing. But it's like I've got 2 younger kids as well, 110 and 112, and they love the toys, And I think it's parents really in a way. I think we have to get them more involved than they do just picking toys up now. If it wasn't for me, I don't think my daughter would go, oh yeah, I love He-Man, or oh yeah, I love. But once they see him and once they interact with him, I think they love him.
Computer games are so much more involved now, aren't they? Computer games are so much more evolved now. I mean, when I was a kid, I loved my Mega Drive, I loved my Master System, but you could put on Streets of Rage, you could put on Golden Axe, you could put on whatever. It was done in 40 minutes. You'd done the game in 40 minutes. That was it, right? Yeah, let's go out, or let's go do something else. Whatever. You play a computer game now, you're speaking to people in America, in Australia, you're playing online, games that are never ending. Now I've tried to get Connor. Obviously Connor is my stepson. He's not my biological son, but stepson. I've been in his life from sort of 3 years old. So I tried desperately to get him into Star Wars figures. Look at what I'm, and he used to come into this room and go, wow, look at my stuff and go, what on them. So I was like, well, yeah, I'll pick you up a couple of these. He puts them on his shelf, and it's forgotten about, and he's onto his Xbox. So even though we had computer games back then, they were over and done with in a heartbeat. They weren't as advanced as what they are now. And so you played football, or you went out on your bike and you made a ramp somewhere, or you played with your action figures or whatever. So I think kids now don't have to leave their bedroom a lot of the time to have any. So I'm sure there are plenty of kids out there that still get into toys and physical toys and action figures, but I think that actual childhood sort of thing has largely gone now. And I think it's kind of just the world we live in, everything's so advanced. I think it's they're not interested in a lot of kids anymore, are they? They're not interesting to kids now. Interesting is a computer game.
I disagree with that a little bit. Mostly agree with you, but I think that it's easy for parents to just give a kid a phone or a tablet.
Yes.
And encourage that behavior.
Yeah,
100%. Right. We took our son when he turned 7 to a live wrestling show, and like an indie show, and we actually rented a bus and put all his buddies on a bus. We took a big busload of kids up to a wrestling show and all front row seats. 80% of the kids, while wrestling was happening, were on phones playing phone games. And I thought, there's something in front of you happening that's fantastic, that's larger than life, and that's real. And you're choosing to be on your phone because that's a habit that we've developed. Right now, we didn't have them when we were kids, but we did have, here's a Hot Wheels or here's an action figure, play with that. And so we encouraged, what was encouraged to us as kids was creative play. And what parents are now encouraging their kids, because it's easy just to give them a phone, is passive play. And so you're getting kids that don't have the imagination that we were trained to have. So yes, kids seem less interested, but because they've been trained to be less interested.
It depends as well. I've just been doing. We've got big land out here, and I was out doing my. I don't know if you saw it on Instagram. I was doing my shed. And I got Lucy and my youngest son to help me, and they loved it, which is dead weird. Because I agree with what Luke said. You know, you give your kids your phone, they're in the bedroom, and that's it. You never see them. You know what I mean? And I think she didn't moan. She wasn't upset. She was like, "Oh yeah, this is awesome." You know, moving stuff and fixing stuff and cleaning stuff. And I think that's what it is. Sometimes I think we take it for granted as well. We just give them a phone. They'll go and do what you have to do. You know, so.
Yeah,
G-Force has made a very good point in the chat here saying about toy advertising. And I'll say this, we were conditioned as very young kids to be into this stuff, right? They advertised to us directly. It's in our brains. The advertising worked so well that we are still into it today. That's how well that advertising worked.
Yeah,
and it wasn't just now. You might be thinking, "Well, I wasn't really watching the commercials." Your friends were, and your friends were into it, and your friends got you into it. And you probably remember a time you were like, "I never heard of this before, but my friend got me into it." Advertising worked.
We're a product of deregulation.
I think
Reagan, thank you, Ronald Reagan.
I mean, I can't speak for your countries, but do you remember Toy Fair at school, Luke and Dave? I mean, we go in there and all your mates, and you were all into the same stuff. So you'd bring your He-Man or your Star Wars sword, all your mates, and you'd have loads.
Well, I mean, I used to go to school with action figures in my pocket. We had a huge pocket full of stickers or cards, and you'd sit in the playground, want it, need it, got it, need it. You know, it was. Yeah. It was just what you did, You got home and watched the cartoons. You watched cartoons on a Saturday morning, and like Xazyl just said, every break it was toy adverts, because we know you're watching. We know you're all watching toy adverts. But now I just think it's such an easy out. You know, like Adam said, for parents, you know, keep the kids quiet while they're at the. Even you go out to eat. Now we don't let Connor on his phone while we're eating at the dinner table, or if we go out to eat. But you go out to eat. How many kids do you see sat around the dinner table with their parents? You know, because it keeps them quiet, it keeps them occupied. You know,
sometimes parents do though. Sometimes some parents are on their phones too.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And the thing is, the kids take the technology to school too, right? So as you're saying, Luke, back in the day, we'd take our toys, our trading cards to school, but now the kids are taking, you know, their smartphones and iPads or what have you. So it's just it carries on from school, and when they get home, it's an addiction basically, and they just can't get off it. It's a big struggle getting my daughter off the iPad, I tell you.
I think it's interesting what Adam said earlier on about the imagination. When we were kids, we had to use our imaginations, but kids these days don't need to, because the imagination has already been done ahead of time for them.
Yeah,
I always say that about Star Wars Lego when my kids say, "Oh, you never had Star Wars Lego?" Yes, we did. It was up here. I had the best.
Sounding like old men, aren't we? Back in my day.
We built Lego uphill both ways.
Well, you want to see Connor's face when I hand him a Super Nintendo controller with a wire on it. He looked at me like this. He went,
yeah.
What's that? You got to plug it in over there, dude. What?
That was my daughter was 17 last week, and she asked for a vinyl record and record players and so on. And I loved it because we went out and bought loads of albums and this and that. But I took it out of the box, I put it up, and she had no idea what to do. And I'm like, that's so weird. You know what I mean? But in a minute, when was the last time you unless you're into it now, I haven't put a record on a vinyl record on something and put the RPM on and looked at it, and it was awesome going back. But it was funny how my daughter got bang into it, and you know, it's all the new stuff she's buying, all the new records, but she wanted it on vinyl, which I thought was awesome to take.
When kids are saying I collect vinyl, you have to ask, do you mean a record or do you mean a pop?
Vinyl.
I'm with you which way we go. Let's just figure this thing out.
I think
it must have been good for you, Pete, because your dad was banging to trains and so forth. So you must have had all that when you were a kid.
Oh yeah, we always had train sets, and you know, now he's done what I've done. You know, he's went crazy, and everything's like, ooh, you can hardly touch it because it's just masterfully done. But as kids, you know, we had like the plaster of Paris mountain that we got to help make that looked like you basically spilled chocolate pudding, over newspaper. And, we were allowed to play on that set and take our Hot Wheels up there and do all kinds of craziness. But yeah, he encouraged that.
I think too, like our kids digest media so differently. So if you look at the CGI He-Man show, and we can all agree it was like a great show for kids, 100%.
Yeah.
When we watched He-Man, it was every day, and if you missed it, you missed it. So there was a value there. And so you watched one episode, you got 22 minutes of it. That was your fix. You're like, I'm gonna come back tomorrow. Now kids will take 2 days, binge the whole season, and then it's done. There's no lasting. It was like, yeah, we did that yesterday. It was fine. It wasn't like I love Motu every day. It was a fun weekend.
Yeah, flash in the pan.
It doesn't last as long as it did, and there's no desire to buy into it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we watched the cartoon on Saturday morning, and you're like, oh, I've got to wait all week for next Saturday now. But you're like that. But see, you went to school on Monday morning like that. Oh, I wonder what Mask episode's on this Saturday. So it was a continuation. It was a continuation thing, like you say, like Adam just said. You can now binge, 20 whatever episodes or something in 2 days. I've done it. That's it. Move on. Gone. Forgotten about. We used to spend weeks and weeks and weeks waiting for the next episode of this, the next episode of that, didn't we? And it was like Adam says, it was always in our heads. So to the point now where we're grown up and we can't get rid of it. Yeah. What are you going to do?
I don't think we ever thought it was going to end, right? Like when you watch a show now, you're like, okay, so is this going to be a 3-season show or a 4-season show, and how are they going to end it? When we were kids watching Motu, like forever, Skeletor and He-Man fight forever.
Yeah, infinity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think back now. I mean, I love Mask. I loved He-Man. Mask only ran for 2 seasons. The cartoon, 75 episodes. But in my head, it lasted for years. The
way they doled them out.
But 2 seasons, 75 episodes. Like, really?
I love watching your. We talked about yours on ZSR yesterday. And I don't know whether the rest of you lads, you and Dave show Mask stuff that I said it yesterday on ZSR. I haven't a clue what these are. I didn't know Mask ran for that long. I mean, I remember the original. Like, I got the Condor at Joe Fest, and I remember the Nissans and the Thunder. Yeah. What was it called? The purple. The basic first, second wave. But you two show stuff. I'm like, what the France? When did they make that?
The thing is that the toy line didn't run for very long, Shabby. It only run from 85 to sort of just 87 to 88. It finished in 88. So you think that's not actually a long time for a toy line, really?
Well, they made loads though, didn't they? They must have made quite a bit.
There was if my maths are correct, you can check me out afterwards. There was 39 vehicles roughly in total. So when you look at it that way, you think that's not that many. And so you look at the Motu. I mean, when did Motu start? 82? And how long? Star Wars, 77 to 85. So 8 years, other Transformers, how long did that go on for? And then So you look at Mask and you think, well, Mask from 85 to 87 to 88. And it's weird actually because I know this is a Motu stream and it kind of connects to this.
We're done with the Motu.
It kind of connects to my video that you're all going to see if everybody watches it, that you'll see in the morning. It's a very, very short video tomorrow morning. The shortest one I've probably done on the channel for a long time. It's only very short, but maybe 5.5 minutes. But it's also a video that's very different to anything I've ever done. I've never done this type of video before. It's not show and tell.
You're not naked, are you? You're not naked.
No.
So it's a short video.
I'm very, very I'm quite anxious. I'm quite anxious about tomorrow's video. And what everyone will think of it, because it's not like anything I've ever done before, and I'm worried if it's worked or not, really. So I'll be interested to see what everyone thinks.
Don't worry if it works or not, because that doesn't matter. If you we're gonna watch it anyway. My Motu videos do all right. My G.I. Joe videos do all right. My Sectars video I just did has been my lowest watched video ever, and it was one of my favorites to do, and I love
another short line toy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm all right for that. I've got 100% record in lowest watched video, so I'm at
1,000.
But yeah, going back to what you were saying though, Shabby, when you get to series 3 and 4 of the Mask toys, I don't remember them. I remember series 1 and 2.
Yeah, all the racing league stuff.
Yeah, once it got to the racing series and split seconds, I mean, some of them are naff. I mean, really naff.
Yeah.
But my goal was when I went into Mask was I want to complete series 1 and 2 vehicles, and then 3 and 4 I'll cherry pick. There are a few good ones. When you look at Stiletto, Wolf Beast, they're really good. Wildcat, But after that, you look at Vandal. It's crap. You know, I mean, it's just, you know,
not wrong.
It's things like that.
I mean, I say that about your videos, but then you watch you keep on collecting one, and he gets those boxes in the evening, and you're like, "What the France is that? I've never seen that. How many times have you done that watching Batted Angie? Like, what? When did you make that one?" YouTube. I mean, some of the lines that YouTube pull out, I've got to admit, I'm like, "Wow, man! Is it all from memory? Things you had as kids, or things you just realised and bought and thought, oh, I'll have that?"
I think just things that, well, for me, it's more things I've just found as I've started this journey of collecting. I've gone, holy crap, look at that. If I was a kid, I'd be so buying that as a kid. So I get it into the collection.
We just buy everything we can get our hands on.
You have Love Boat. Didn't you have Love Boat figures? Was there a video recently? I had no idea Love Boat had figures released.
Oh yeah.
The best thing about the Love Boat figures is they were supposed to do the last Starfighter figures. And at the last minute, they pulled the plug and went with Love Boat instead.
Right? Yeah. Like, really?
Yeah.
Everybody wants the Isaac figure.
Yeah.
Everton of toy channels.
There is a guy. There's a company in Melbourne called Lobo's Collectibles, and they've done some last Starfighter figures actually. So yeah, 3D printed ones. So they're just limited.
What are the prices like in that? Because I've seen your videos, and that place is amazing. But what are his prices like? Because from what I hear from Australians, it's pretty rare to find toy places like this full of box vintage and that. So does he know that, recognise that himself, and put the price up, or?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like the Sectar's Hive inbox is like 3,000 Australian. So he knows.
I'll never own one.
Scuba Pete knows this, but I'm working on a deal, like a deal of a lifetime, to get a Sectar's Hive.
Yep.
Don't tell Luke. He's just made videos of it.
The deal is too good, but I might need to drive to Long Island to get it. So I might do a video of me driving to Long Island to get the Hive.
Yeah, since I've been doing Sectars, it's fast becoming a grail, the Hive. I've never seen one for sale. I think once Derby Collector found one, and it was like £1,000. I was like,
it's the only thing I don't have. I have all the accessories and all the figures. It's just the Hive.
There's a superb documentary, isn't there, Pete? There's a documentary on YouTube on Sectars, and he's brilliant. And now they made the Hive. They actually did the Hive in 3 sections, and it's actually made like that. And then they put one on top, one on top, one on top.
Wow. So where's that? Where would I watch that?
I'll find it and I'll send you the link. It's on YouTube. It's really, really interesting.
To watch it. Yeah.
And they were telling us how it didn't work out because of the prices of it. Because right next to you have what? Then you have this and that, and theirs was like 3 or 4. It's like when you're getting average figures at $3 to $5, and theirs were 15 to 30. No one was buying it, and that's what the issue was, you know. So it was really interesting video. So yeah, it was a good one.
I've got a Sectars video planned for the channel, and I've got some screenshots of the Hive in an old toy catalogue, and you can see kids knelt next to it, and you're like, that's huge.
It's massive.
You look at the kids, you think, well, that's the scale. It's massive, but I just don't see them for sale.
Let me ask you, Phil, because we all watch your videos in Japan, and honestly, mate, some of the what I get from those toy shops in your things is claustrophobia. It's like weird. How I mean, Scuba Pete meant to fit in those stores. That's why we don't go.
I know. I'm like, I feel like I can't. Could you down there?
They are. I'm like a bull in a china shop in those things. Like you're wearing a backpack, you turn around, you're knocking things over. And that's one reason why I basically don't have any play sets in my collection over here, because there's just absolutely no space for them, and the shops don't have space to sell them in either. So play sets it's a very foreign thing for me, that's for sure. So
but I've always wanted to ask you, when you go into these places in Japan and the toys and so forth, are you looking for things from when you were a kid? Because obviously in Japan they'll have their own toy lines and their own things that were big and so. So do you get enamored by stuff like that, like stuff you never had? You think, oh, that's cool, I'll have that.
Yeah, initially what I was getting was things that that I had as a kid, but the longer that I've spent over here, I've started recently getting into like the kaiju. The Japanese side of things as well. So Yeah, that's a dangerous rabbit hole that I've sort of started to go down. So yeah, I am starting to expand my my collection into all sorts of different areas. But Motu is still number one. It's still the number one love. But you just don't find it. You just don't find it over here. It's a very, very minor line.
You could have the Motu battle the kaiju.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
The thing that stands out in Phil's toy hunting videos for me, and this is going to sound weird maybe, but it's like the very distinctive sound that the plastic bags that those toys are in makes. It's like so foreign to me. This is almost like a weird crinkle. And I'm like, it's so crazy.
They do love to waste plastic over here. It's just everything is wrapped in plastic. Yeah.
Right. So we've gone over the tour. I have loved this morning. This has been
fantastic,
brilliant. I mean, over you and John. You know, it's been brilliant. And like I said, if you watch this now, thanks to all the chat that have come in. And if you watch on the replay, every one of these fine gentlemen, all the links to the YouTube channels are in the description. You've been absolutely, I've loved it. We'll have to do this again, definitely. So
you did the shit well, Shabby. Well done, buddy.
Oh, thank you, my friend.
Yep.
Before we go, I need to ask, keep on collecting. Did you get your parcel in the mail?
You know, you've beat me to it, Adam. I was going to I want to shout out. I've got this box now. I'm not going to open it here because it's just we're going to go way over. But
if you want to open it, we can open it if you want to do that. If everyone's
it is opened, but do you want to see it?
Let's do it. Do it. Live unboxing.
Do it.
All right. So here we are. I want to say thank you very much for this, Adam. I appreciate it. No ends. It's just they're amazing figures. And to get this, and thank you very much, Xazyl, for bringing them all the way back over to Australia. And when I was on Mo Tuesday, just to be able to sit with you guys and chat just Motu stuff was just absolutely bloody brilliant. And I've never actually experienced that before. So look, it's been a while as well. So here we go. Can you help me out, Adam, as well? Remember there's I can't remember which one's Mercenary. Is this like Mercenary?
That's Merfan. He's a guy who's really Merman.
That was based on me, was it?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So if you were a Motu guy, you try to fit in with Merman.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, that's it. And this is Mercenary, isn't it? There's Mercenary.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yes.
That is wicked.
It is amazing. I love it. Look at that. So it's it's Merman's body and his clawful's armor.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah, take my hands off his. He's excellent. So they come with is that just a
it's a struck down Merman's sword on a spear.
Yeah, because it's like the cobra.
Yeah,
look at that. Bloody amazing. Now I don't know. I think this one's broken in the mail. I got another one, but his head come off.
Oh yeah, you gotta glue his head back on, then you go.
Merman got the shits with him and just chopped his head off.
No, I got angry that I couldn't keep them in my collection any longer. I was like, "No, bugger you guys, you can have it." Actually, I've got a confession to make. I did break it. No, I got a confession to make. So I did mule them over from Canada upon Adam's request, and I was happy to do it for you, buddy. But when I moved over to Perth, I left them in Brisbane, and my good buddy Classified threw them in the mail. So Chat Champion Classified actually put them in the mail for you. I would have definitely still had them otherwise.
You're a shocker, buddy. You're a shocker.
I know, it's so bad. It's so bad. I was like, I'll just break this one.
Thank you very much, Adam. I appreciate it.
I'm just happy you got them.
Yeah, I'll do a video on them anyway, and I'm going to get them up there in the collection, show people how we pose them. So yeah, this is cool.
Nice.
And I'm glad we did this because, I've got to say, especially to Phil, Adam, and Xazyl, your Mo Tuesdays, brilliant. I mean, it was I think it was you, Scuba, that said these lads are doing a Masters of the Universe thing. I thought, oh, brilliant, because like I said, we all talk toys and we all talk, Star Wars more or less and G.I. Joe, and I thought this is fantastic. The three lads that are, genuine fellas just talking about the love for
passionate for it. Yep.
Yeah, it's a brilliant. So thanks for doing this for us, because I was worried at first. I don't want to overstep anyone's thing. Do you know what I mean? That we'll just call this Mo Saturday.
Mo Saturdays.
Most
Saturday. That's it.
Rolls off the tongue.
But no, honestly, I've had. It's so nice seeing different people in the chat. That all you lovely people have brought your own people in, and it's been fantastic. I've absolutely loved it. We'll definitely do this again. Definitely.
It's been awesome.
Have to.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on.
All right.
Well,
we'll go. So thanks everyone. Thanks for coming. Thanks for getting up. Thanks for staying up or whatever. And we'll see you all soon.
Yeah.
See you later.
See ya.
Take it easy.
Cheers.
Bye.